Good evening. Good evening, everyone. How are we doing today? Good evening, everyone. I think I'm having issues with Facebook. We need to restart Facebook, so bear with me. I'm quickly going to restart Facebook. You know, again, it is our usual Friday hangout. I welcome everyone in peace. May I know where you are watching me from? It is Maazi Ezeoke Friday Hangouts with all my fans. So today we're going to be looking at a wide array of issues here. So I believe everyone is ready this evening. I am I am ready. Let us roll. So let's bring in Facebook in. Okay, I think Facebook is now in. So, hello, world. Hello, everyone. Hello, Facebook. I hope you can hear me loud and clear, Facebook. Since you basically joined us now, Facebook, Friday Hangout with Maazi Ezeoke. I greet all of us. We remain a dotted people. I hope all of us are doing well. So, like I said, welcome back. Hilary Nwako says, welcome back. I'm here. I didn't go anywhere. I think maybe you've been missing me somehow. So for many of you, the usual Friday hangout, because tomorrow we don't have work, apart from those who probably are working tomorrow within the health sector or the hospitality industry. But if not, get your coffee, get your wine, get your beer, get your brukutu kunu, whatever, fermented, unfermented, get your zobo, whatever you want to get every gettable, and let us. Exactly. When we do this with our conversation, it rhymes. Oh, yes, I have. Your videos keep me awake. Oh, there. Prevent me from sleeping on duty. Okay, so then you should be paying me for helping you stay awake. Okay. So, everyone, I hope we're all doing well. Thank you once more for joining me. How are we doing? So, let's wait. So, I have someone from SC. Where is Southern California? Is that SC? I don't know. I think Greece. Oh, I love Greece. Oh, I love Greece. I love Greece. I love olive from Greece. You know, I was discussing with a friend today. Maybe she's even watching, and we are discussing about the Nigerian anointing oil. Nigerian anointing oil. If I tell you people what I do with it, you won't believe me. I like frying. I like cooking with it, and that's what this was meant for. But I do not know how somehow we've been brainwashed into using it for something else. But hey, what can I know? Before I start, I have a couple of good news for us, and maybe two good news. That was part of what we discussed yesterday. One is an update of that little girl that was abused that I told us yesterday. The little girl that was abused by an accomplice of the grandmom. The grandmom who ought to take custody of that little girl sadly collected money and allowed adults to mess up a 7-year-old girl. When I talk about mess up, you're free to imagine any horrible thing. Sadly, that was what was done to that little girl. Again, sadly, I can't even play. Sorry, I can't even play that video because that would be against you guidelines, even Facebook. I know, and I think I've seen someone. Ooh la la. Hilary Nwako, thank you very much. I'm really keeping you awake. Thank you. I appreciate your super chat. You rock, mate. You rock. So, may I know, Hilary, where you're watching me from? Yes, CSE. I know now. If no be for this country where they do us like this, at least I've traveled enough to know that SC is Southern Carolina. Carolina. I've been San Francisco. Did I say San Francisco? No, I didn't. Okay, Southern Cal. It's Southern Cal is also very nice. Honestly, like how many cities have I visited? Oh, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Wow, Oklahoma. Thank you. I remember then one of our teacher studied in Mississippi, and one of the lecturers normally make jokes of him saying, "You studied in a place where people miss, they miss Mississippi." So I just remember. Oh, Indonesia! Wow, Indonesia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore. Yeah, it's a very nice place, Indonesia. Yeah, thank you for joining me. Madrid, Nze from Madrid. Wow, wow. Madrid. For some reason, I prefer Barcelona to Madrid, but I think a lot of our people are in Madrid. It's also a place I've been. I like it, but I prefer Barcelona. Maybe because of the restaurants. I don't know. Are they like good things or are they like good things? Forget. They get smooth skin for nothing. Are they like good things? Sometimes it's good to live good. Barcelona. Go better for Corona, I tell you. If not, when you go for business meetings, in the evening, you have time to walk around the city. But one of my colleagues from Chicago really nailed me. This guy was, I think, as of that time, he was about 61. Jeez, he flew in from America. And we had business meeting. Me, around 10, I was already knackered, about to go back to my hotel room. Whoa, this guy dragged all of us, every single one of us. We have been dragged around until 1 o'clock. And we were supposed to, myself, I was supposed to have a presentation the next day. This was happening on a Wednesday. I was supposed to have on Thursday, have a presentation by 8:30 in Barcelona. And you can imagine 1 o'clock, you're going from one listening to the other. Oh, wow. Modi Obonna. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Thank you, super sticker. Guys, you guys rock today. Is it because of my military camouflage? No, Mopo. This is Mopo, actually. Now, Mopo camouflage. Thank you, everyone. So, South Africa. Bog is also good. Oh, she should be hanged. No, my dear, it's not even about the woman. Let me play us the video because the reason why I'm mentioning it today, there are two things here. One is about the dollar tree. I think Oyenimo is, who agreed with my thinking yesterday, is right. I've eventually gone and I found out the truth behind that Udala tree. The Udala tree was actually as a result of what I have thought about, that this could only be from when the branches are heavy and the thing came down. If you cut it from half, it has every tendency, because it still has a lot of weight at the base, to come up. So again, that's one mystery solved. But let me allow us watch this first, so that we'll get to, it's a Friday hangout. Don't worry, people, we're going to touch on a lot of things. So at the end of the day, the bottom line is that you and I, every one of us, want a better society. Then CA abuse, I call the video CA abuse, I think. So let me see if I quickly find that video. So, but again, like I said before, I'm going to play only the update. The other one breaks my heart enough that I cannot get myself to playing it. I only watched it once. I couldn't watch it and the second time because it is, for me, you know, those words that that 7-year-old girl used haunts me. You know, it really deals with me to think that a 7-year-old girl would have such words in her vocabulary to even use it to express what was done to her. Jeez. Man.
June 2020.
Okay, so people, before I let this video play, please try covering that chat. No, I'm not going to play. Don't even, I won't even play that Charles video here. I will not even play. You know, I can't even play, whether I cover it or not. I won't dare. You know, at least I have to give her some. It's good enough. I think every one of us who understands, we're adults enough to understand what was done to this child. You know, that if you ask me, whoever did that only deserved Chinese treatment. Sorry, but that's actually honestly the way I feel. But nonetheless, let's see the update. So the update here is that the man, everyone is in custody. The girl is being worked upon now, and honestly, I think that, for me, that's the best news. That's the best news that I have today, to know that that girl is in good hands.
17th day of June 2021, we just had a very viral case of a child of 7 years who had been brutally and severely raped by a pedophile by the name Miracle somewhere in Calabar. He actually told from Akwa Ibom, but he actually told us now that he's precisely from Uyo. We had a section with the DPO, Officer Zubike. We also had a section with the IPO. We also interrogated the grandmother and the perpetrator, and the lies from that woman, it's more decorated than a birthday cake. But it's okay. It was all evident that this woman is also a body distributor, like she was.
You see, I hope you guys understood what she said, that the grandmother is also a body distributor, aka, what did Flavor call them? Ash, completely one. So that's what she is. I think Ghanaians say is a kuna. So that's what the grandmom is. And probably the daughter that is in Lagos, that's the mother of that boy who is in Lagos. We don't know what she's doing, but you can use your tongue to count your teeth. What manner of trade she might be doing in Lagos?
Works in the brothel. She's half a prostitute, and I know so many other things will come to be unraveled. I came with a team of media professionals from Correct FM, and there's a lawyer from Tamasak.
All right, hello Tamasak, ma.
There's a lawyer from FIDA. She's actually the chair.
FIDA. FIDA is these FIDA. I know them as those that fight for widows. Wallahi. Someone commented in one of our class groups, said that when this team are in your case, better go bury yourself, because they have judges who are FIDA members. They have everything. So you've already lost before you come to court anyway. So it's something like that. You've already lost the case before you come to court. So let me quickly.
And there's a lawyer from Tamasak.
All right, hello Tamasak, ma.
There's a lawyer from FIDA. She's actually the chairperson FIDA. So much is happening. Everybody is interested. And a member of the state committee. This committee is working to represent Enugu State as a whole.
Please, ma, where's the child currently?
The child is with us at Tamasak.
Okay, Tamasak.
Yes. Test has been carried out. Yes, test has been. We took her to the doctor, government doctor. Test has been carried out. She has been treated somehow. We gave her medication yesterday. Changed her clothes.
you know, and the matter is to be transferred to
Yes,
state
yes.
ID.
In the next, in a couple of minutes, the
I will try to reach out to these people. Madam, the case is not something you treat. The case, it's something you work on a continuous basis because that child has been abused. That child, has been traumatized. A medication can't deal with it. It has to be, she needs serious therapy so that the damages don't stick, so that the damages will be arrested now. But again, I use this opportunity, please, because a friend of mine um, also used the opportunity to somewhat confide in me that similar thing happened to her when she was almost that same age. And she broke down because watching the video of this young girl brought back memories that she couldn't share with anyone. Sadly, the person who's done this or who did this to her many, many, many years ago, over 30 years now, is no more. So, in her words, she wished the person was there so she can say things to him now that she's obviously an adult and can speak. Um, my take this evening, people, using this little girl as a point of contact and as an example, I would want to beg us, everyone as a parent, especially the girl child, that we should be very, very careful. Know where your child is at any moment. Do not, again, I repeat, do not leave your child with any other person. Do not. Amongst all, endeavor to communicate with your child. Communication, especially the women, you know, your girl child should be able to confide in you. You should be able to speak her language. She should be able to speak to you, after questions. Did anybody touch you? In inappropriate. It should be a way to connect. Honestly, the only thing that gave me joy is that this girl, though 7 years old, was really bold and outspoken. Really bold. When she said the thing she said, even the grandmom was touching her. She didn't bulge. She said it the way it was. And that's the only thing that really gave me hope and succor. At least this girl, she's able to speak her mind, irrespective of what was done to her. Really, really, very, very encouraging to say the least. However, sadly, that something like this happened. Now, I think I would get us the video where we explain the one of yesterday, the fallen three. And actually, it's good that eventually, because I sent this to my friend from Ethiopia, and eventually last night after this program I had yesterday, he came back to me with this one. That's part two. But one thing my takeaway from this incident is from the comment, both on Facebook, on WhatsApp forums, what people were saying actually explains the same thinking pattern where most times we do not want to employ logic. We want to employ, superstitious, or, everything has to be mystery like. I remember there was a time in Enugu they said a lake. That one muddy water somehow. People were just jumping into it, and they say, oh, they had somebody with disease came and they jumped into it and they healed. They were healed. But when you ask the individual, do you know who was healed? They say, I had. So none of them could say, I knew Mr. A or Mr. B who jumped in and came out healed. I remember when my dad was alive, he would always say, all this miracle they do at crusade ground, that we had Ngobo, that is someone who is deaf in the family. That why is it that we cannot find where we can take this Ngobo so they can also pray for him so that he can talk. And when he talks, then they can now go to town and tell them that this thing works. But he will be in the crusade ground. People will be falling from right, left, center, with the exception of the cameraman. And at the end of the day, nothing happens. The people will say they got healed and all the rest. So that's what I saw with this video with the tree is a clear case of these, maybe I would say, dogmatic way of approaching things, that sometimes critical analysis are not employed in our the way we look at it. Okay. Now, I would once more play this video for the benefit of those who didn't join us yesterday, and I'll play the second one in order to do the explanation. Now, this is an Udara tree. What they call, some say it's local apple, some call it Agborumo, I think the Yorubas do. So for the benefit of my Yoruba viewers here, and these three, I think according to the story here, there was this heavy wind and the thing fell. And they called the guy with a chainsaw. He came in, cut the bigger branches. At some point, the thing stood. And in their words, it stood. And standing meaning, again, standing erect, which makes sense because if you have enough sand and taproot to pull it back, it does come back. Because I've seen this morning, I researched on it. I see a lot of video on that on YouTube. I'll explain to that. So let's quickly play.
Order after 4 days, after 4 days, Ojida. We're born a dome of what is Chowdala. What is Chowdala? So the boy at what is on our Quabe Benkalanaga before I was a book of the lad. A book of the lad where money were water. Yes. Oh, queer we found and the mine I been in a gassia. After 4 days, order banana. When your dome be a baby's child. Nambaro me nambara be first toss go ye Ezeoke solve go mere. So order after 4 days ko after 4 days order ebe na ebeji sinka aga se nyina ala order wure mani ko we kwuru so ndị mmadụ na-adị enegasa ya so nke a bụrụ na asụkwa asị mụ na-ejude ihe ala ji aka njefe ya tata awụ Sunday bụ ka ebe Thursday dịdị tata awụ 13 June 2021 so ihe ahụ mere Ezeoke Isiofia Agwata local government area ife ahụ osisi dada after agbụcha ya onye dọọma by mistake na Okeke ya bere ya bechaa ya osisi wee si n'ala wee manikwa so bechabe ihe ahụ nka na-etike asị kwọrọ isichara so ihe ahụ nka na ebe nka na kwọrọ isichara fa nka na ụdara ahụ so ụdara wee binye were kwụrụkwa so ibe nji egosi ihe ahụ ife omimi so ihe arụ maka ife omimi so onye bụ na osisi ibe dị n'ụdara ụdara siri ike onye na-epụ aka na ibe ọbụla mmadụ karịrị mmadụ nghọta so ahụ ibe mmadụ fụrụ n'obodo anyị bụ Isiofia ụdara dara ada after Sundays ụdara wụ manikwakwa wee kwụrụ
Okay, so you had that now. I'm not sure what he said was that tree fell, and after 4 days, the obviously alluding to the fact that it is because of the mystery behind that type of tree, which is the Odala tree. Again, of course, it is possible. It is possible a Nigeria change. You see, that's where when things happen, let us. I'm not saying that there are no mystery on earth, but I want us to, because if we apply logic in most of the things we do, then where mystery and mysteriousness comes in will then be very minimal. You see, the reason why some people actually die is because imagine where you have something that there is already a cure. Like today, I was watching BBC, I think BBC, but there's one thing they call a new leg, which in English I think is called leg ulcer. And many people in the southeast, and I don't know about the southwest, believe that you can go to the market and buy a new and just give it to someone, through jars, and the leg will begin to swell. But these things actually, the primary cause is when people are diabetic and they have wounds, and from there it expands, blah blah blah. These are things you can avoid by covering your leg very well and all these things. I was watching a National Geographic. There is a very tiny scorpion, not scorpion, very tiny spider. If the thing bites you within 24 hours, if no antidote was given, you definitely die. One is your leg will be like 10 times the size. And again, before you know it, it collapses your heart and everything, you die. Now, imagine for once how many people in Africa, and these things are being found in Africa and Australia. Imagine how many people we have lost in Africa as a result of that. Imagine. But everyone believes, oh, he went to the farm, they put jars, he just came in. The person that says he went to the jars, they put farm, didn't go to that farm he went to that farm with no protection at all. There was no boots, there was no rain boots, there was no socks, there was nothing. And now you go in there, you're tilting the soil with the hoe, you cultivate, you put it on your leg while you're, doing those, the ridge. Now you disturb these tiny spiders in their natural habitat. What they do, natural instinct, they stink. And when they sting you, you pull out your leg already covered with sand on the ridge. Naturally, the sand will cover it immediately. So you can't find anything. You just scratch it because something obviously happened there. You scratch it and you continue. It takes about 3 to 4 hours for that thing to kick in. And again, 3 to 4, 5 hours is when you probably would have finished and you went home. Oh, he came back from the farm and he collapsed. His leg was just swelling up. We cannot be thinking like we must improve from the day, from the thinking of our fathers and our forefathers. Our forefathers, in some senses, they were great thinkers. I respect them till tomorrow because at least through Proverbs, which have learned so much from them, I can see their thought process. They smart people. However, when it comes to science, there were some limitations that today science is opening up our minds that we can think differently. A friend of mine who left London to Nigeria to go get married to the boyfriend. The boyfriend was to come from Germany. She was pregnant. She was in Nigeria. Sadly, there were some complications that she couldn't come back because of her papers. Anyway, that's it, the secondary story. But the story here is, yes, she's a believer. She was about giving birth, and she was told that she had BP or raised high BP, that her BP was raised. If it was any normal doctor, I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm also not an idiot not to know this, because these are basic science. No doctor would continue with normal birth. All you do, you open up the tummy, get out the child, the mother, the child will leave. But hey, some people were speaking in tongues, shouting, doing whatever they were doing, asking her to push that she was going to deliver like Hebrew woman herself, claiming it, blah, blah, blah. She was lucky she survived, but that child died. Again, this is not juju. This is common sense. If we are coming to this platform, if nothing we take away from is that we will begin gradually change the way we think in order to have a better society. So this issue of that of a three, I mean, it's not something prominent, but I'm using it as a point that we begin to learn how things work with our, within our environment. Now, I don't know, people, I don't know how to say this. Again, before you got me misunderstood, I'm not saying for 1 second that there are no evil. Listen, if 100% of the things we attribute to evil were to be evil, all of us would be dead. But I would say maybe less than 1% of what we are, less than 1% of the 100% we attribute to evil in Nigeria is actually evil. Other ones are common sense. Okay, ask me. You are in America. I remember once when I was using an ML then in the UK, and when we got a brand new car and everything is sound. For the first time, to be honest, I used the car for a while. I got tired of that car. Within me, I was praying for my car to crash because of the level of insurance I had on it, so that I can get a brand new car. Whereas in Nigeria, we want to embark on a journey. We will cover the boat with the blood of Jesus. We'll cover the tire. We'll cover the engine oil. We'll cover the gearbox. We cover this, cover that. Before you finish, that's blood, not the finish. And if the blood self for don't dry. We leave Lagos. Oh, let me not get, honestly. I pray, sometimes I pray that I don't know how maybe half of Nigerians can actually go abroad for 2 years and come back. Maybe we will get the revolution we are talking about, because I think everything is here. When we as a people are still stuck in, do you know that in Nigeria we still pray? Part of prayer is, God, please give us light. Can you imagine? Light already, that is not your freaking job. You have nothing to do with it. It's somebody's job, because that person has to go to work and that person has to make sure that that light is there and for them to be paid. That's why when you hear this statement, know that the person making that statement is an illiterate. It might be educated, I don't bloody care, but that person is an illiterate. When you hear this statement, why is this man, every time he leaves a room, or rather they say, oh, if you go to these people in London or in Germany, in their house, every time you leave a room, they will tell you put the light off, or they will tell you put the light off, or the person talking is a moron. You know what? You don't know what energy consumption and conserving energy is. Because the reason why they are telling you that is not that they cannot afford it, but it makes no sense, absolutely no sense, that you left your room A, you leave the light on. You left your toilet, you leave the light on. Don't you know that energy you're conserving, one, you're helping the planet, you're shifting energy so that another person can also use. But here, it is a sign of big manism that we will, leave that light, make it a shine. You know the reason why you do it? Because actually, you don't pay. When you come to Nigeria, as I speak to you today, and see someone in one place, 6 air conditions, you know one thing, they don't have prepared meter. If they do, they don't. I mean, you see 6 air conditions and all of them turned on, and that person is not a politician. listen, I'm telling you free of charge. There are things. It's either that person doesn't have a prepaid meter. If he has a prepaid meter, he's bypassing light. He cannot have a prepaid meter. You didn't bypass NEPA light, PHCN light, and you just let the air conditions blow in 2, 3 in your bedroom, 2 up in your sitting room, 2 up, this one, this side, all of them consuming light at the same time from morning till night. Nah, it can only be a stolen light. Because the moment you charge 20,000, I put it like that now, wallahi, that thing cannot last 72 hours. So once he gives you the first shock, 20,000 gone, another one, 20,000 gone. Hey, okay, please put off that light if you're coming from the toilet. Again, these are things that I believe personally that we now, we need to begin to again, we cannot be coming to this platform after a while and we remain the same. Something must be wrong with us. What I'm saying, I'm not saying that I'm the smartest, that I know it all, but at least I've lived a love enough on this planet, on different continents, to know the way things work and why we are where we, before I speak like Osibanjo, why we are where we are, why we are where we are, is because, like someone was saying here, that I drove from Los Angeles to Houston, Texas, 1,600 miles without praying for Johnny Mercy. The only Johnny Mercy you pray for is when you want to sleep. Listen, in England, do you know how many times I've driven from Germany to England? Even with my family, everybody drive. From there, I will go from northern Germany, I'll go through, car driving, go through Hanover. From Hanover, we go to the Netherlands. From Netherlands, go to France. From France, you go to Dover, eventually come into England. Who does it? I see one guy from Spain using bike. He rode from Spain to Nigeria. Police were actually on the road in the Cotonou area, asking him for money. Hey, what can they bring for us? Hey, come. And the guy had a cam on his helmet, and he was recording them. The idiots there, they had never seen any helmet cam, and they didn't understand, and he was basically recording them, making a fool of themselves, and afterwards, he posted them on YouTube. So, we have to change. So, again, if I use this thing again, some of us who think that this is mysterious, no, like I said yesterday, we must begin to apply logic and common sense. Because if we do, the tree that I've shown us now, we will now understand that tree was not as a result of any mystery, that it does happen. Let me get the other part of it now. Pardon me. Where's that 333? What did I call that? Oh, sorry. Pardon me. What? Hold on. Okay. So let's see. And again, even here, this guy did a very fun. But when I was watching this, I felt like Nami did there, because I felt so happy that some local people with local intelligence are also there. But now come and see where our brainwashed mind has gone. Even the mama, oh, I love her, I so much respect her. Even the mama was arguing against logic. No, it is Imrimius. It is Imrimius to us. It isn't, against logic. Mama was arguing, and I do not begrudge her. But with time, these are things. Let's not be like them. Let us strive to be better in our thinking. So let's watch.
This one too. So this
okay, you see, that's the thing. You can see where the thing actually, you can see like there was like a circle where it fell from, because remember the previous video didn't show the back of it, okay?
Then it was the taproot so even now on a weight the too much side that. Other was now known to where caught why he now telling you to say wait to return one my so wait I don't know wait I didn't have the ban one now this him back again so when big deal there but on the go me about to that Ezeoke and how one aja or they were gone so I am so one.
So in Akon here just so no know anything like a mystery.
We're missing. I had natural something.
You've experienced it before.
Yes. Oh no, sir. I want to know here in
on your back here.
I'm in state. Oh yes, I always go. I want to call here but I call Dana. And I name me here for me. So the hack on him. So we this idea.
So it does in a nutshell not getting me like or equator not that
yes.
So here's this huge ass tree.
Okay, but no go bad man.
And no aja weather. Eba the nubu. Ebe nke a mere mkpofu. So mgbe ha okikwa mbia kuo ye. Butuo ye. Oda. Ovu akwụkwọ vu a lot of things. So mgbe abia court wazia, court wa wait ni no. On normal thing na gradually go be nipa.
So all the normal.
All the normal.
You have seen it before.
Yes, all the normal.
Okay, and that's why I'm going to make a saying. Well, again, we both the experience too. If we go there.
I won't be the experience now with harmful, you harmful ever. No, when Miss Trade ever.
Okay. Okay. When I figure now work is office, so I want this of a media team. So I have around. Can they go to the end and come for you post well.
So him like you my social no problem. You have na many so for them like the show now. Eje let off mama. Look we hear the many social. Look we can many who need social.
So I hope some of you understands what the guy was just saying. Now, the guy, exactly what that guy said is my thinking. You know, that's level of logic. But let me just fast forward and get where Mama was caught up on. See, honestly, I love, anytime I visit Ethiopia, I would actually find time to visit Mama. I love her spirit. That's a typical Mama for you. But again, we, the younger generation, we can actually move and fast track, you know, the thinking better than what was telling. So Mama will be asked now, and she will steady following. God bless her. Okay, Mama. I'm going to be here now.
When are the Ambiba?
Oh, Mama is so dramatic. You see the way Mama the way Mama demonstrated that the tree was just, you know, standing. Eventually, they stood upright.
Yes.
Mama added some small little sugar and salt, you know. What is good is part of that storytelling.
Okay, even now, forget about okay,
and see, now at this point, Mama, because her argument has been punctured, she would get a little bit upset and she walks away. You know, again, this is typical. I so love it. It's typical. Look.
Igbo yo na nke na ndo ha no Igbo yo na o se ha kwa then nke ha Igbo ka fla adala onwe
ya we na be ekwu na nke ne na o meghị ibe arụ mmadụ na ya
o mo meghị arụ mmadụ
o meghị ibe arụ mmadụ n'ihe a na ụkwa ni ọjị niile ihu bekee gburu ọjị na ibe niile hụrụ
ma ha tagodu ihu mgbọrọgwụ ahụ ọ ba ihe kenye nke na nwa di wetie di nwunye dị ebe ọ na egwu osasi ka ebe uhie dị gwara mụ ha n'uhu ya ahụ osi ahụ ga-emeli ka ọgwụgodu na na-eye egbuolu nkata ahụ bụ ihe ka nwee ha ịkpọ ngwo na ịnwere egwu ji ha n'ihe a nke a ga-emeli.
Mama says do not listen to their illogical thinking. Oh, this Manage is a better journalist than Maazi Ezeoke. I don't understand what you mean. Manage is a better journalist. Sorry. Anyway. Let me spare you this. Now let me play us, because someone is asking in the forum, in the chat section, why is it that no one caught the, no one has a video of when it was rising? Listen, people, bear in mind that Nigeria is still a society where things happen out of camera. But now people are beginning to use camera a little bit. What happens here is I have gone to YouTube. You can do that yourself, do the research yourself. I'll play us at least 2 different clips from 2 different continents that was caught on camera, okay? Just to assuade us that this is not, there is nothing extraordinary about this. Quickly, these are very, very short clips. Let me quickly play these for us. So, number 1, you will hear these guys talking about it, and because these are professional, sorry, what is it called again? These are professionals, so they understand. Okay, so this is one of them here. Please pay attention again.
Here's this huge ass tree. We cut it down, or it was falling, I guess. We cut a big chunk out of it, and
so did you hear that? This is a phenomenon that only happens with falling trees. When trees fall on their own, because the branches they have top weighs them down. When you cut off those branches, they stand back. Now watch this.
It uprooted over here. Let's see. Right there. And so we're going to see if we can knock it down.
So you see, this is the root. This is the bottom.
But without killing anyone is the plan. But we need more gas, I guess. All right, here we go. No shit. It worked. Wow. So holy crap.
For us in Africa.
That was kind of cool.
For us in Africa, this is miracle. Okay? This is miracle. Now let me get the second one so that we will, so that it's not only, we don't make conclusions just based on one video. Let me get the second one. Now this one. Where is the second video? Sorry. Sorry, I'm going to just quickly get the tree number 3. Okay. Where is it? I'll just quickly get the second one. So that, because when we, if we don't show these things, some of us may walk away thinking, oh yeah, these trees and the mystery behind it. So watch this one again. So at least this one was about 9 years ago. It's now, it's a different location. So what's going to happen? See, that's miracle. This particular video is exactly what happened in Sophia. This particular video. Remember yesterday I told us something, that when I looked at the narrative of that first video, without looking at this one, without even knowing that this video, anything like this existed, I said the guy with the chainsaw was damn lucky, because imagine where he stood on top of the trunk and cutting it, and this action happened. The thing will fling him. He might even get himself in, maybe across the Ekulobia, Sophia Road. That's where the thing will fling him. And the people will now start saying the second thing. Oh, the man he came to cut the tree for, they've used him for juju. Oh, village people, they follow the man. Oh, you will hear stories. These are accidents. But again, because we do not sometimes get prepared for this, remember these two videos I've shown us now, it means these individuals understood the danger. They knew that this phenomenon would happen. Hence, they approached it from an angle where they were expecting this to happen. Look at it. Look at how tall that thing is. No one will know that this was a falling tree. You see, immediately the thing stood upright. So change Nigeria. You see, I believe now. Thank you. If not for anything, reason I'm bringing this, if not for anything, we will begin to use our minds. Like one thing, like I keep telling people, listen, we demonize our uncles too much in Africa, and that's not good. I do not believe that all of them are evil, but we demonize them too much. If we don't go to the village people, old people, this, that. No, because, listen, if a man in his 30, in his 40, 50, 60, when he was still able to go from one community to other, did not do juju, is it when he's in his 70s and 80s and 90s that he's now so frail and fragile that he will begin to do juju? Apply common sense. Actually, these people in the villages that we demonize are the people we should be showing more love. People we should be, I think I've told us a story of one of my uncles. I think as of that time, he was about 98, and everyone was saying that he killed XYZ. And I'm like, are you guys normal? Are you guys insane? If this man whom I lived with could not, maybe in his 60s or 50s when I lived with him, if he ever has anything that's called jazz, I would have found out, because every Saturday I clean, when I say I clean the house, I clean every down plate. So at that age, there is nothing hidden in that house, two bedroom. Can he hide anything that I cannot find it? He didn't do juju then when he was young, not when he's now old. When we want to build houses, this duplex is going to cost me 10 million. And you know that your capital you're doing business with is about 3 million. And you want to build a duplex of 10 million in your village, a house that is not going to give you any yield on income. You will start it. Suddenly, your business will begin to go down. Oh, you begin to look at your uncle who is coming after you. Listen, no one is coming after you. You're coming after yourself because you're not applying common sense. If you want to test me, if your property you want to build in your village is going to cost you 15 million, put that 150 million in the bank and start the project. Listen, let them go to the worst juju maker in this world and bring it. They will put the juju. You would use cement and concrete and cover the juju and build your house and live and you won't die. It's common sense. Again, that does not mean that we do not have evil people, but we create a lot of evil people out of our imagination, just like Macbeth says. It is the eye of the child that fears the painted devil. I remember then when we come from township and we get into our villages, they send you message at night. Your slippers will be pursuing you. Some of us are still in that mental state where the slippers make noise. You think someone is, it's just because you are so afraid. Now imagine for 1 second, now as you are, you have your maybe 12-round revolver in your waist. You can walk from your house to anywhere, nothing will happen, nothing, because you can damn shoot anybody that comes your way. It clears that suddenly, oh geez, this is basically the mind of a child. So I hope with this video, I've been able to, prove to us, this lecture that has taken us close to an hour, if not anything for this Friday, I hope you have your own wine with me. So for those of you who do not have your wine, please, I have mine here. Reason why I'm using non-transparent this thing is, so that I'm not advertising anything, but at least it's our local one. We can advertise our local one. God bless the tapa. The tapa is a good one. The tapa of this one is a good one. You see? We change in Nigeria, say you win this one. No, it's not about winning, brother. I'm not interested in who wins or who loses, but the application of logic and common sense. If not for anything, we walk away today. We begin to, do it this way. I want us to start questioning everything. When I say question everything, before I believe, I question. A relation of mine, I visited them in Lagos. I didn't know the boy was autistic. I didn't know. So I opened the door. The reaction of the boy to me, oh, what are you doing here? This. The way he said things, 1, 2, 1, 2. I figured out something is not right. Many of you who are care workers, doctors, and healthcare workers will understand what I mean. And when we left, other relations already be telling me, oh, how they've gone to churches with this boy, all the miracles. And I said, what? Why? But this is a clear case of autism. And the other one, you can see the reaction. He was shocked. He said, how do you know? So of course, the child, when he greeted me, his reaction and the things he said meant, something. He said, oh, are you sure? And hasn't anybody? I said, I don't know the child. This is the first time I just met this child in this person's house. So, but I can tell you clearly, this is a case of autism. Now he started saying to the husband, the people I came with, see, that was what this doctor from US said. Are you doubting it? Are you people normal? There are things you can't cure. It's not that God doesn't do miracle, but how do I say this? Something that the miracle itself is just like when someone is diagnosed of blood pressure that is genetic, high blood pressure that is genetic. The miracle that has already happened for you is that there is a drug called amlodipine, maybe 5 mg or 10 mg. It doesn't matter if you're 30 or 35. As a black person, oh, you can go pray. People have died while they are praying. But this tiny drug could make you live up to 90, 100 if you just take one a day. It controls your BP. It's simple. It's simple logic. No one hates you. No one did this to you from your village. But if you don't, it's just like someone who consumes, a relation of mine died kidney heart failure in once. But again, they can sit down and drink 1 carton of Gouda. That's unhealthy. That's unhealthy living. You keep doing it, something must filter those drinks. You keep punishing your body. Then when death come knocking, or you say, oh, it's because he bought big car and they didn't want him to enjoy. Who cares? Which money you get to myself? Who's interested? We demonize ourselves too much. Again, the new generation churches that are only interested in the tithes and in the offering and in the pockets of the followers are not helping matters. Are you not worried that in a village where you don't have doctors, pastors become doctors? Imagine where we have a universal health care, where I do not need to pay if I come into. See, the reason why people go to the pastors is because they think they are getting it cheaper. Funny enough, she might be watching. A friend of mine meant to go for a surgical operation. I believe she's actually watching, but pardon me, I need to use this example. Going for surgery. And I was discussing today, I said, if to say you are poor, you would have gone to one pastor to cast and bind your surgery. And you probably have died in the process. And that surgery is costing millions. When people just think that there is an easy way to remove it's many times one, ignorance, two, poverty. That's why people will be driving, running, drive past a hospital and get into a church. Why is it that sometimes you see people, they cast, hey, foo, they blow into the microphone and somebody shouting, during, running round. Why? Don't you know that we have mental health issues in Nigeria? The weather alone, do you know that sun can cause you yourself? You will not think that right. Many of you in the diaspora, don't you know that you might, before you come to Nigeria, you might have diary. These are things I want to do. But by the time you come in, sun will hit you. Especially if you don't have it. Sun will hit you to wipe the diary off your brain. Before you knew it, you begin to reason like people here, all of us. Oh, man. Again, people, the conversation this evening, if you're enjoying this conversation, kindly subscribe to this channel, share this video. Share this video, like the stream. I noticed the presence of my fellow Ichia here. Thank you very much, Emeka Umebido. I can see he's a high chief. A high chief. I remove my cap. When I say high chief in every sense of it, and one that end it as well. So Emeka, thank you very much for your comment. I can't think your comment was unpassed, but I saw somehow your comment here. Thank you very much, Nemo. Again, I'm not belittling anyone, but I think we all have our own, there are things, the pastors have their role, but I think they're encroaching too much on the roles that they do not need to engage in. A family friend also, the story is being told. One of them is also listening, is in this program. You understand what I mean? That had BP, high blood pressure. I actually lost a cousin 2 years ago as well. He had, his BP was 260 to 180, and he refused. And the funny part is that actually the African mentality killed him. A cousin of mine. He didn't die in Nigeria. He died in the diaspora. But because that mentality hasn't left him. He was only 36. He was diagnosed of having, his own blood pressure was genetic. But he thought he was too young. Why could he be diagnosed at 32? But I said to him, I have a friend from Portugal. This boy, we go to restaurant, Luca. Luca injects himself insulin at age of 9. Diabetic, diagnosed at age of 6. By the age of 9, injection. I couldn't even look when he does it. I'm like, this thing just cramps me. But Luca is alive. The person in question is alive because of that insulin. And for me, that is the miracle, that there is a solution to that. That is, for me, the miracle. But sadly, the cousin in question didn't. And sadly, one day, one of the arteries in his brain burst. He had a brain hemorrhage. The reason why I'm saying this is that even the high chief here will know who I'm talking about, because he was the one that actually alerted me of his death. When I spoke to the European doctors, and they told me the BP and the encounter they had, how can you be that you've been prescribed drugs free? Come and collect. Free. Come and collect. Take one tablet a day. Because if he had been doing that, he would be alive today. No. They said the uncle in the village is fighting them tooth and nail that they won't. What's your uncle? One illiterate in the village. What does he know? What does he know? So, but you see how sometimes ignorance can block your brain, get you to a point of where you're basically running from no one but from yourself, push you to a point of your death. Then you die. And that's it. So what I'm saying, Emmanuel Pascal says, UK alone, when summer comes with hot sun, people are quick to undress and walk around in skimpy clothing, almost just underwear. In Nigeria, we say, we're a tibere, ara adigo, Christians. Oh dear, you're listen, no, bless you. CEO says, screw village people. Bugate no, where is Bugate village? Now listen, no. E-money no get village people. See, please, if not for anything, walk away from this broadcast today and screw village people for real. Because it almost does not exist. My late father told me, what can kill a man is that which someone sprinkles this into my drink. That is chemical. Maazi Ezeoke drinks it without knowing that can kill me. But as I am now, I say, from my village, you send something, come here for Abuja. You say, you want to kill Maazi Ezeoke, they crazy. You know, they work. That is for fellas saying people of low mentality. It doesn't. Listen, let's move on. Same thing with the one you say, there's one or DSU. But eventually you share and you see people die. Stupidity. Or DSU. If you know the share now, why wouldn't you have sold it to Americans? They will use it and go and do Django and be Chakitan to all their enemies. Monetize it. I've been looking for so long. Why must you listen? Maazi, no beer, drink cover. Listen, why must you even, and that is the thing. Why must you drink in public? Why? Anymore. Let's be real. Why must you drink in public? if you're in public function, if I'm in public function, I feel safer to even to drink. If I want to drink small stuff, for instance, I feel safer to drink out of the bottle. If I want to go to the toilet, at least the small stuff, I empty my drink before I go into the toilets. What I'm saying is there is the possibility that you could be poisoned. Then you become cautious. I'm not saying that there is no evil, but no one can forget this by saying they just have too much Nollywood. That's one of the things I think Nollywood has actually whacked our brains. They just whacked our brains so hard that our brains are basically thinking in opposite direction. And that is, many of my friends and colleagues who are still in the movie industry, that's one thing I've been speaking to them in private. We must change that narrative. Our narrative is not a narrative of a bunch of barbarians running around. Do you know the impression we have created? We create the impression you see a woman like this, look like this, look, he brings something and put. We create the impression as a wicked bunch of people running around with poison in their bras and the poison in their trousers. That's what the impression we created with this nonsense Hollywood. Because of the storyline. The argument, when I ask you that with a couple of directors, is that, yeah, but this is what sells. I said, no. Sometimes when you want to start a revolution, you do not do things because you want to sell. If I want to make money, how many people watching now? Not many people. Everyone is gone now because it's not something interesting. If I begin to yap Buhari now or begin to talk about TB Joshua, you see 2,000, 3,000 people, everybody will be clued in. When people are talking rubbish, go to Lindy Keji now. When you talk, Davido don't leave Chioma. Oh, this, that. Everybody will just be glued in because you want to listen to rubbish. Liberate your brain. They just click, go away. Everybody will just be going away. You see? Or if divide Nigeria now, tomorrow morning is Nigeria must be divided. Fulani herdsmen everywhere. But the one that is killing you more than Fulani herdsmen, you don't want to address it. You don't want to talk about it. Silent killer, destroying the society, destroying the villages, destroying families. In the early 2000s, there was one that was everywhere. They say is a family deliverance. Now, since that 2000 till now, close to 20 years, how many people out of those delivered are now billionaires? Take your tongue and count your teeth. How many of them, all those people delivered, how many of them that came to your village and took the ikorus of your ancestors that cost them man-hours to carve, how many of them are now billionaires because they've destroyed the stories of their ancestors? You go to Liverpool in the United Kingdom, you go to America, you see the stories of our ancestors. Go to France, you see them stolen, kept there, put air condition for them. Nothing happens to them. I come down to Iboku Museum. Anyone you touch, your clothes everywhere is dust. Nobody cares. The place is just, the one that broke my heart, the day I insisted I want to visit Iboku Museum. Because I insisted, the guy that took me there, they had to start making calls. Somebody in the museum had to, after waiting 1 hour, 35 minutes, motorcycle, they had to go and bring the person to come and open door for you to get into the museum. Is that a functional society? Are we blaming federal government for that one too? The things we can do for ourselves too? Must you and I stand by and watch these charlatans destroyed artifacts from our ancestors because of their ignorance? I do not for 1 second believe in juju, and I do not practice it. I will never practice it, and also will never be a party to destroying the artifacts of my ancestors. Things they've spent man-hours. They spent hours carving them. One charlatan to say, if we burn this Ikoro, that is a radio, for Christ's sake, if you're ignorant and you don't know. That is their own radio where there was no GSM. Many of you within the Anambra area will know Kokokokotiko, Ogekwetike, when we do road constructions. Or is it when they use the same Ikoro to call Onyekukwenuzoga when you have dangers in the community? And every male will come with their machete and look at where is that sounding from. Is it sounding from Abwenu? Is it sounding from Abba? And what is the message being conveyed today? Because those that beat those gongs are no more. Then we go in our field of endeavor, we think we have failed, we come back and one charlatan who barely can read King James and say, oh, is that Odala tree in front of your house that is making you not to kill it now? Now you are competing with Bill Gates. You close your eyes against cryptocurrency or world, where the digital currency, where world is going. You want to stock in your buying and selling. Listen, very soon you think it's village people. The world is moving with speed. You need to open up your mind. If you're not making money with the telephone, either which we are watching me now, my brother, you need to think twice. The world is moving fast. So forget all these village people. We do everything. Everything is juju. Anyway, let me make some more comment. Killing the headsman is real. Yes. How many? It's real. But killing by our own ignorance, it's unprecedented. So I have been telling people who I have been telling people who believe in juju to show me how it works so I can try it. But okay, let me tell you, for your life, don't try it. I know a friend. I know this one is not. I know a friend that time at Onitsha MCC. People might know MCC. He was into smuggling, and he went somewhere. They said they cooked him after 2 days. They say he wanted to test the thing so that, because the thing was they were smuggling stuff that on their way from, I think, Bakassi to Cameroon, that customs, when custom comes and they won't stop, even when they are shot at, it won't enter. But the guy was smart. He gave them his little finger for them to test with. And the juju man fired the little finger. I knew him as a man who has 4 fingers. So it's only when I was asking what because when I had the story, I said, he's a smart man indeed. Imagine if you had given them audition and they put his chest, boom, the thing would just pierce his heart. And that is it. He's dead. Probably they will bury him or they will cut some parts and they try another movie. Again, we got to open our eyes, people. We got to open our eyes. Well, for those who want to, I hear my Yoruba friends tell me that they use juju, and they say they push Fulani people with juju. I say, that juju, the juju don't work. If the juju they work and on a day jam and Fulanis are still coming into your community, then it's either the Babalawo who is doing that juju is an idiot, or that you people are all being fooled. Because if the juju they work, the juju for blind every, do all the boundaries of Southwest, anybody who carry car go there, go disappear. Or anybody, let's get creative. If the thing they work, why make we do it for our politicians? Any day when you steal our money, bam, the moment the alert enter your account, now so you go run mad, they go for the street. Then we know say, see, this man don't steal our money. We are begging you. This is where we need to ask people develop computers. That's where we need to, if there is anything like that. That's probably how we begin to. Alex Collins says there are supernatural powers. My brother, I can't argue with the one I don't know. Mochi said he's not a smart man. He should have asked the Babalawo to try it on his own finger. Well, the Babalawo didn't cook himself. He was the one that was cooked for 2 days. So he's lucky he got away with his life. So at the end of the day, I mean, people, we have proven beyond every reasonable doubt that whatever happened in Isofia is nothing but a very simple, natural occurrence, you know, a very simple natural occurrence. Again, you exactly fundamental, fantastic question. James says, why are all native doctors not rich? You tell me, whenever you see them on the listing, because I haven't visited one, so you see them on the either when they are caught, when they've done something, they are in a very smelly looking environment or a very wretched environment. And that sometimes there's these people that, one guy sent me a friend request on Facebook, and I didn't know him, but I think I have about, how do you say, friend or whatever. I looked, I think about 5 people who are co-friends with him. But I looked at his picture. He says, Babalawo, whatever, use dollar everywhere, splash dollar everywhere. And I'm like, una decrease. Can you believe such a nonsense? Now, if how can a man who his first son is there to kill a fowl, to make sacrifice for you, and is making sacrifice for you to buy to build duplex, he think his son doesn't want to drive big motor, the hungry and so on. Apply common sense. At the end of the day, we have diseases that are not man-made, caused by sometimes our habit, like diabetes. And these are things that can be controlled. So anyone telling you, and these are things that can be managed as well. So anyone telling you otherwise, again, you got to be wise. I would always tell you, seek medical opinion, not just quack, medical. Seek proper medical opinion. I always ask people, if you ask me which hospital should you go, I say before you go to any private hospital, if it's not something critically urgent, please go to teaching hospital. Teaching hospital. One, you have the professors there, people who have engaged in research, because governments take their bills, so they have time to research. And they do peer reviews. They do have correspondence with other international hospitals, so you can actually look into that. Because the cousin in question that I talked about, it was only when they went to what's it called, teaching hospital, that they discovered that his liver was gone, that his kidney was gone. So 2 in 1. Sad. Joyce A, thank you very much for the super sticker. Joyce, I do honestly appreciate the super sticker. At least that's another bottle of see, I'm here alone, so I can, don't worry, I'm not covering my drink unless you won't put something inside. Those of you thinking they do jazz, oh yeah, jazz. You see, the jazz know they work. Oh, you don't jazz them? Don't worry, I go drink them. Don't worry, I go drink them, please. Okay. So before I leave, I mean, many of you still here. I want to go into politics now. Should we continue, or should we leave it for strict parliament tomorrow? Or we open the line? So let's get into the vote. Let's see what next. Did I go into political discussion? There are interesting things, or should I open the telephone line this evening, or should I call it a quit? It's Friday. You decide. I act. So tell me, what should I do? I'm waiting. Yes. Is Pami? Yes. Proper Pami, not Ungo. Proper Pami, not this. This is proper one. This is Udi, proper Pami. Oh, there is heaven on earth. You're missing. If you're not drinking this one, you're missing. And some of you made it political discussion. open the line so that people can rant. No, you see, I fear to open the line because you open the line now, we may have people who hug, lane huggers. They come in, they're not going to agree drop again. 042, yes, 042 for life. 042, the best permit. Our people in Anambra now, they sell poison. They sell all these, their chemical conjured butterized. No okwa. No, no okwa here. Please stop salivating. So let's go. How many people, how many votes? Great. 042. So let's see. Let's chill. It's Fridays. Okay, let's chill. So what do you mean by chill? Tell me. Don't open the line. Okay, yes. So how many people open the line? Yes, no. Open the line. Yes, no. Vote. Don't open the line. Okay. Many people say don't open the line. Okay, that's fine. We're not going to open the line. So let's look at what the government said about. There's this Yoruba lawyer. I say this. The guy is a Yoruba guy, a very young chap indeed. He appeared on Arise News. Hold on. He appeared on Arise News, and they asked him questions regarding the, herdsmen, IPOP, yada. He has an interesting view. The views that he expressed, I'm like, wow. So basically, we still have people that is this sound in Nigeria. Many of you must have seen this video, what I mean. So again, if we want us to analyze it, we can go ahead and do that. Take online questions. Okay. So do you have questions? Maazi, you don't be able to convince. Hold on. Maazi, you won't be able to convince people that one old woman in the village don't fly. Come on, that's. I mean, it's just come on. Honestly, I would be disappointed that someone who watches me here will still believe in such nonsensical crap. Honestly. There was one in Lagos. They said the woman they was coming back from a meeting and they flew and they flew and they fell. And when the woman was being questioned, the people there shouting. I was paying attention to what she was saying. One, she was incoherent. Two, she wasn't aware of her environment, which was a clear case of dementia, not anything flying. She didn't know her environment. She flew nothing. A clear case of, but again, a people who are ignorant of what dementia means, what people being vulnerable, what it means. How would they understand? So someone just sitting somewhere and shout, oh, yeah. I think I've told us a story on my way from Omaya to Aba. Before Ungwa, there's a crossing and the Okada man knocked a woman. I could see that, at least I could see that because, the road was clear. There isn't this grass in between. No, there was no grass. I could see. But on getting there, slowing down because a lot of people, some people were now rushing. And look at the man shouted, Napusikato, she knocked down. The thing can't turn to woman. See? Now, even when the woman was bleeding, people would have stupidly lynched that woman if not for my intervention. People would have stupidly lynched her believing the Okada man. But the Okada man probably did that in, I don't know if it's in fear of getting out of the danger, endangering the old woman's life. That's heartless. Okay? That's heartless. How many people, someone has a mental health issue in Nigeria, They don't go to hospital because they said they don't want the person to be stigmatized. Where do they go? They go to the hospital. They go to the church. And when they go to the church, they will cast, they will bind. If truth be told, when they still come back home, whatever happens still continue to happen, right? When they come back, whatever happened still continue to happen. You know, so let me get into this. I think it's good that I do this now. So let
what's trending with reactions to the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed's claim that Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, and his microblogging platform are liable for the losses the country suffered during the end.
Now, can you imagine? Lai Mohammed. Huh? What did I say? Lion Mohammed. Huh? Lion Mohammed. No, Lai Mohammed. Is it? Lai Mohammed. Yep. Lai Mohammed. Okay, can you hear now that Lai Mohammed says that Twitter was what caused NSAS and the damages? I don't know how in our own very eyes we are looking at a bunch of people trying to rewrite history. How on earth did Nigerians, or rather did Twitter cause the mayhem? We are here. People were protesting peacefully. They were given an icon. That's the only thing this guy did. And once they started donating through a Bitcoin wallet, that was the only thing he did. But now there's been blamed on it that he's the reason why. So who were the ones that brought talks with DSS vehicles that we saw in Abuja and the ones in Lagos? Who? They are here blaming him.
SARS protests. The minister accused Jack Dorsey of raising funds through Bitcoins to sponsor the protest, and after debunking claims that Twitter wasn't banned from the country for deleting President Muhammadu Buhari's tweet in which he referenced the Nigerian civil war, also claimed that Twitter was the platform of choice for a particular separatist promoter who uses the platform to instigate violence against public property and members of the police force. Well, let's some reaction. Well, this is a comment from Pastor David, who wrote, was it Twitter's Dorsey that opened fire on the youth during their peaceful protest?
Oh, Pastor David, please, God bless you. Ask them this stupid and silly question. Was it Twitter that asked? Because I don't know. Please help me. Was a Lagos State bus burned before they opened fire? Was everybody not peaceful until they opened fire and brought the wrath of the people?
Which was caused by the uprising against poor governance of Nigeria. The whole world can see how this government continues to wreak havoc throughout Nigeria and waste lives of Nigerian citizens every day. Rufai, your comment on the story.
I'll go straight to 2 points, or 2 to 3 points. Number one will be, please, open Twitter back up. That's just it. Open Twitter back on. Because it's obvious we keep seeing people shopping for reasons to ban Twitter. We keep seeing people trying to say, oh, this is not the reason we're banning Twitter. The reason Twitter was banned was because they took down the post of the president. If they are not taking the post down, Twitter will not be banned today. That I know. So anybody that says otherwise, I don't know about that. The reason is because the president tweet was taken down. And we've gone further to shop for reasons to justify this act. Then we've shopped back up to NSAS now. At first, we said, oh, you must pay taxes in this country. And we brought out the report that Twitter don't even really make as much money as you think. So how are they supposed to pay a lot of the taxes? We've talked about taxes. Now we've been able to hold one accountable by saying, you know what? They cost NSAS. Twitter did this for NSAS. The minister should prove it. I doubt if he's going to be able to prove it, but he should prove it. He should prove it that the miscreants that hijacked a peaceful protest by Nigerians, a peaceful protest that started attacking them, the miscreants that people saw coming down from executive cars, miscreants. There are a lot of people tagged to politics.
Oh, guy, you're going too much. In the words of the minister himself, let us bring him in and say, Ogalai Mohammed, are you lying in all these things? If they call you a liar, what
when
will you
my
say?
7-year-old grandson called me and said, Grandpa, tell me the truth. Why did they call you liar, Mohammed?
You see, not me.
Politicians. The people should prove it that those miscreants, because you see, when some people talk, we laugh. We all know that some of those area boys that started the Wahala, they even know their names. People identified them, and they told other people, certain politicians they work for. So they should bring that out, and they should tie that to Jack Dorsey paying those people.
Lai Mohammed, welcome to the Cowboy interview.
Thank you very much.
Why would Twitter delete the president's tweet?
Twitter may have its own rules. It's not a universal rule.
Why will he make such a statement?
I'm not saying that Mr. President does not have the right to express his anger.
But many Nigerians feel that expression is inciting violence.
President's speech that anybody who is destroying infrastructure should be ready for the consequences. Is that inciting violence?
Someone even said Mr. President cannot operate an Android phone, but he made that tweet using an Apple iPhone.
We should stop comparing apples with oranges.
It's Android, not oranges.
Whatever name.
Describe this administration in one sentence.
Lack of tolerance, lack of rule of law.
Do you consider yourself patriotic?
We have a country to rule, and we'll do so to the best of our ability.
Because at one time you were asked to choose between Ghana Jollof and Nigerian Jollof, but you chose Senegal instead.
That's why I think you are again mixing things.
So I can't comment on your falling our hand.
If you want to comment, be fair.
It seems you don't want to discuss it.
What we were discussing was different. We were discussing Twitter.
Back to Twitter, what exactly do you think is their mission?
The mission of Twitter in Nigeria is very, very suspect.
Excuse me?
Twitter's mission in Nigeria is very suspect.
You mean suspicious?
Suspect.
As the Minister of Information, is this your grammar acceptable?
It's not acceptable anywhere in the world.
Because it's not used anywhere.
I don't say anywhere in the world.
Now, between those of you in government and we the people, who do you think is guilty of double standards?
We are the one guilty of double standards.
Wow. So what is your prescopious proliferation?
Sir? Ma?
Oh, never mind.
I think sometimes where you be someone.
It's okay now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shabati.
No. Where are you? Yes. Read ABC in my ear. A, B, C, D, F, I, J, K, L, M.
He's a lawyer. So when he uses the word vicarious liability, he's using a legal term. Liability is under the law of tort. Vicarious liability is when you can be responsible for tort, an omission under tort that has been committed by another. So that's different from strict liability. That's different from what is also called absolute liability.
Okay.
Now, you see that the Minister of Information tried to prove that vicarious liability by citing instances of actions committed by Jack Dorsey, how he was mobilizing funding for NSAS protests, how he tried to provide Bitcoin support for NSAS protesters, how he also provided his platform for the promotion of actions which, in the opinion of the Minister of Information, were capable of undermining the corporate existence of Nigeria. And its overall objective is to prove that this, suspension of Twitter in Nigeria is not just because of the tweet by the president of Nigeria, but that, this has been something that has been long in coming. Now, I said earlier when this subject came up that in October 2020, one Adamu Garuba actually went to court to sue Twitter, $1 billion, accusing Jack Dorsey particularly of the same liability. But of course, when the case came up, and one Tope Akinode decided to represent Jack Dorsey in court. The complainant didn't show up. His lawyer also did not show up. And in January this year, Adamu Garuba withdrew the case. Now, to the extent that vicarious liability is a legal obligation, then the Minister of Information, what does he intend to do? I mean, a man does not become liable because another says so. You have to go to a court of law to go and talk about it, to go and prove it. So is the Nigerian government going to take Jack Dorsey to court? And again, under what jurisdiction? Considering that this is a man who does his business within a worldwide web space. So these are some of the issues that will come up. But I think that what is more instructive is that Jack Dorsey himself has been trying to, succumb to the pressure coming from Nigeria. Now, two major markets. Twitter has been trying to expand, and two major markets that are used to that expansion and growth of Twitter. Twitter is having problems there. It's having problems in India, where it has 700 million followers. And in India, the Indian government has been encouraging Coup, an alternate micro-blogging platform, which already has about 6 million in India. Coup is situated in Bengaluru in India. This same Coup has suddenly showed up. It showed up in Nigeria as an alternative to Twitter here. So this has put Jack Dorsey and his micro-blogging platform under pressure.
Yes.
But Alhaji Lai Mohammed says Twitter has written formally to Nigeria to engage Nigeria in conversations. But my fear is that I hope that this will not end up as an absolute attempt to censor free speech in Nigeria. Because in the statement made by the Minister of Information, he was saying that the only way Twitter will not have any issues in Nigeria is if it is going to allow on its platform only content that is approved by the Nigerian government. And that way, Nigeria is trying to toe the line of India, which introduced digital rules, which have also become a major issue for Twitter. The short end of the stick, the long end of the stick is about protecting not just national laws, not just sovereignty, but ensuring that individual rights to free speech are not infringed upon. Because the Twitter platform, as well as Google, as well as Facebook, these are, platforms that have expanded the frontiers of human expression. These are platforms that have become very democratic. So major challenge is in striking the balance, both for Twitter and also for governments that are uncomfortable with this digital platform.
I wanted to take you on that comment where you said that Jack Dorsey needed Nigeria and India. I mean, people are even saying that why did he go open his headquarters in Ghana if he knew that he needed Nigeria that much?
Well, he's been vindicated now, hasn't he? Because the Nigerian government can't reach him. He's tucked away in Ghana. But as I was saying this morning, there is logic in penalizing those who are guilty of inciting violence. Everybody must be responsible as an individual in the way you use social media. Whether you're a social media user or social media owner, you cannot just tweet what you like. But that, for me, is where it ends. What is Jack Dorsey really accused of doing? How is he responsible for the looting? He was tweeting about fundraising. What was the money raised? Quite a considerable amount of money. It was raised and used in very specific ways, which were made public. Medical bills, food, petrol, support for victims and what have you. None of those monies that were raised were...
You see, when government argue and they argue against the reason, you sometimes you want to be ashamed. Honestly, you want to be ashamed. I have no apology, and I will do it again and again. Many of us donated money to send ambulances to that site, and some of the ambulances we paid for were there, and they treated people. There were times that the allies or whatever struck, or those boys that came from the side of government came in and they wounded people. Many of them are alive today because they were given first aid. And this is part of the thing this guy did. And now the government is talking from both sides of the mouth. The end thing is, in as much as I somewhat also believe that, because if you look at the social media space, it's somewhat that anybody can wake up tomorrow and just start writing rubbish, absolute nonsense, and pinning someone, just character assassination. There must be somewhat that, that we can get some, maybe that side, outright falsehood regulated. But to infringe on people's right of expression, that is undemocratic, that is inhumane, and that cannot stand.
Spent on, hooliganism, vandalism, none of that. And he was also accused of retweeting. He was retweeting support for the protest. The protest itself is not the issue. Right. We will recall that it was politicians who sponsored hoodlums to come in and change the tone of the protest.
Very correct.
From there, things escalated. There was a curfew, at which point, those doing the fundraising, those who were leading the protests, were all tweeting, everybody stay at home. So at that point, NSAS was over. The hands had been washed clean of NSAS. So what escalated the issue really was that shooting on October 20th. What does that have to do with the NSAS protesters and Jack Dorsey tweeting? Absolutely that was nothing. State action, was it not? Absolutely. And then it now escalated even further. As a response to that, some people ran amok all over the place, vandalizing, murdering, burning. So what on earth does that have to do with Jack Dorsey? Absolutely. But what he must learn is the lesson. He must be open to the lesson that he had to learn in 2013 when he was actually trying to be quite stubborn about the rights of ISIS to use Twitter in their recruitment and propagation of information. After a while, even he knew he had to start shutting down those accounts. So what he must learn in this, not to throw the baby out with the bathwater and just say, well, I didn't do anything, shrug and move on. He must also be careful in what he does use his platform to do so that he's not roped in and made a scapegoat in an issue that really has nothing to do with him.
You make a very valid point, Tundu. Take another story.
Anyway, I want to stay on this story. I want to bring in this lawyer now. The lawyer would make your evening, honestly. I've forgotten his name, but he was going to make his argument is worth every single minute of yours. His argument, the manner of presentation, the passion in his presentation is worth every minute. So let me quickly bring him in here. This is the young man here.
So to NSAS protest.
Calls to question whether really.
No, hold on.
Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, says that Jack Dorsey is vicariously liable for the destruction of government properties and wanton violence.
Did you hear this? He said Alhaji Lai Mohammed said that Twitter is liable. Why is it lie? It sounds like somebody singing lie, lie. Why is everything lie? Liable, lie Mohammed, lie this, lie the other one.
During the NSAS protest in October last year. Now, what does that really mean in real terms? What options are available to the Nigerian government? Take Jack Dorsey to court, and do you share the view in terms of the vicarious liability that Alhaji Mohammed, who himself is a lawyer, talks about?
Thank you. Well, what it simply means is that the minister has basically informed Nigerians that he has changed the designation of his office from Minister of Information and Culture to Minister of Comedy and Entertainment. Because when you have a minister of the Federal Republic...
This lawyer, why are you so wicked like this? This is very, very injurious. How can you injure a minister like this? Huh? Mr. Minister, what
when my 7-year-old grandson called me and said, Grandpa, tell me the truth. Why did they call you Liar Mohammed?
This man is already telling us that he's being called Liar Mohammed. But it might be that my friend is enjoying this thing actually, because now I'm getting my dream because I'm enjoying this fatty. This is a fatty that I'm really enjoying.
All right.
Have you voted?
I'm voted, yeah.
Okay, so
I'm happy I'm voted, yeah.
tell me your feeling after voting today.
Yeah, after voting, I'm feeling okay. What I want, I get it on the result. I'm getting the party I want is the one going on. Thank you for that.
What are you expecting from these people you voted?
I'm voted, they can do what you want, and then when they want, what they want, inshallah, we're happiness more.
So inshallah, we are happiness more. So maybe you're happiness more because they are doing what they want, whenever they want, everything they want. Is it?
Of Nigeria, going publicly to say that Jack, the founder and CEO of Twitter, is vicariously liable for what he claimed was carnage and destruction during the NSAS protests. It really calls to question whether really this is a government that is serious about anything. To begin with, the NSAS movement, the NSAS protest, was a natural response to state collapse or to state failure, which is the failure of the Nigerian state, the failure of the government to hold police accountable.
Maybe it was Jack Dorsey who also told SARS to start killing people. Many of you in the diaspora, I remember during the time of SARS, you will come from Holland, from England, from anywhere, and you are driving, you're going to the east, on getting to Benin or a bypass, they will stop you, search you, take your phone, take you to ATM, and they want to collect money from you. So Jack Dorsey was the one telling them to go search people, shoot people, the Okuzo slaughterhouse, everything. That was Jack Dorsey. I don't know. There must be a special type of weed. Either they sell or they plant at the Asoro. There must be.
We wouldn't have had answers if the Buhari regime, when they came to power in 2015, had taken the issue of police brutality, the issue of extrajudicial killing of Nigerians by the police, the culture of corruption that has pervaded the police over the years seriously. We haven't seen any serious reform since this government came to power, except for the passage of the new Police Act. In terms of discipline, in terms of restoration of credibility in the police, in terms of discipline of officers who are killing Nigerians and extorting Nigerians, this government has not done anything serious. So when Nigerian youth went out to demand NSAS, what they were saying is that the group that was supposed to protect citizens from armed robbers had basically become a murderous gang, engaging in wanton extrajudicial killing. This was what the NSAS protest was about, and we must constantly remind those who are seeking to misinform Nigerians about what led to that protest. But to go to the question, I do not understand the basis for the very hilarious, comments that the minister has made. To begin with, Twitter did not in any way contribute to the violence that took place or the burning and the killing that took place during the NSAS protests. At the Lagos Judicial Panel of Inquiry alone, it has been confirmed that no less than 99 persons were extrajudicially killed during that protest, including at least three at the Lekki toll gate. Is it telling me that it is just...
Hold on. Did you hear that? That it is now clear that 99 people lost their life. And the Lekki toll gate, they were jubilating. Like people who just kissed someone for the first time, that the CNN lied, the United States issued a report, blah, blah, yati, yati. At least confirmed 3 people, at least the one they, not the ones they took away, the ones they probably confirmed officially. 3 people were killed, yet the government is denying it. Don't worry, there is life after government.
That caused the killing of those persons. We also had properties that were burnt. I do not understand what he means by vicarious liability or how Twitter contributed to what took place. The reality is that the social media has become a veritable tool for civic engagement, not only in Nigeria and Africa, but globally. Look at the Black Lives Matter movement in the United States. It has been brought to the fore because the social media, including Twitter, has been used to galvanize, civic and citizen to demand an end to the killing of blacks by the police in the US. So will we now say that because there are some pockets and skirmishes of violence during Black Lives Matter protests that we should hold Twitter responsible? Lai Mohammed is trying to distract Nigerians from the embarrassing failure of this regime, from the failure of this regime to provide leadership, from the killings that are going on daily in this country, from the fact that our naira has become worthless, from the fact that Nigeria has become the poverty capital of the world. So when he makes, these outlandish comments, what he's saying is that do not focus on the basics, do not focus on the substance, dwell on the frivolities. That is what this is about. Twitter has not in any way contributed to the malaise that has characterized our national life in the last 6 years. Twitter is not responsible for the killing by the herdsmen. Twitter is not responsible for what is going on in this country. So when they try to shift attention from their failures, from their incompetence, to now begin to blame foreigners for what is going on in the country, really, as I said, it calls to question whether this is a regime that is really serious about anything.
Well, Mr. Effiong, wow. Okay, responsibility being laid at the feet of Jack Dorsey by the minister, as tenuous as that link clearly is, does make it quite clear that the federal government is becoming more and more entrenched in their position with regards to the Twitter suspension. It's obvious that it's not going to go away overnight. I'd like your comments on that and where this could possibly be headed.
My worry as a citizen is that before our very own eyes, we are seeing a sustained shrinking of the civic space. We are seeing this, the democratic space being decimated. Okay. We are seeing the destruction of the little gain that we have made in our democratic process since 1999.
So everyone, people, before we continue, if you're new to this platform, if you're new to this channel, thank you those that have given us super chats. You can support this channel by sharing. It's Friday Hangouts, normally with Maazi Ezeoke, where we discuss various issues, so you can quickly and very sharply share this stream, share this conversation, like it, like it. We are over 160 on, and we can only see only 30 likes. Smash that like button, and share this stream, share. They say, share. And I'm not saying us to, shout Roboskata, Kawasaki, Yamaha. Now it's only share. If you share, you're going to be rich. If you share, you're going to be strong as Maazi Kakraka. If you share. If you share, you receive sense. Share. I might not make a good pastor. Anyway, but just quickly share. Let's get others in.
When you have a regime that came to power, largely because of the power of the social media, Buhari would possibly not be the president today, but for the social media. The APC would not be in government today, but for the social media. Lai Mohammed would not be a minister today, but for the social media. What is the antecedents of these people? When the opposition use the same platform to demonize the Jonathan administration, they saw nothing good in that administration. They constantly oppose any attempt to shrink the civic space, to attack the media and so on. But what did they do? They came to power. They now destroyed the bridge that they used to climb to that power. So when you see them saying they are suspending Twitter, they are banning Twitter, it brings to question whether this is really a civilian administration or a military dictatorship disguised as a democracy. How can you say you are suspending a platform that offers millions of Nigerians an opportunity to express themselves, that gives youths, young people, influencers, an opportunity to be self-employed? Can you imagine the rippling effect of this scandalous decision on young persons that depend on Twitter for survival? Can you imagine the effect that it has had on the economy that is already in a state of comatose? Can you imagine the perception of the international community about us as a country? So these people should begin to look at themselves critically. You cannot be saying that, you are strengthening your position when Nigerians are the ones that are losing. And you see the funny part. They make this, funny comparison that China has also limited Twitter, the same.
Again, thank you, Lord Michael here. Your comment says, this young man is my cousin from another tribe. We need more bold and articulate young men, women like this that can speak to power to all levels with superior and factual argument. Kudos. And I could not agree more with you, because that is the fact. The fact that some of us, kind of put more or so much energy to keep on staying on facts, not propaganda. Whenever government comes with this, that we are very quick to say, no, this is not it. We're all not dumb. This is where things are. And hence bringing him up to basically, because when I watched it, and I was impressed, because these are things that, it doesn't matter where it happens. The guy is not evil. But again, we must begin to situate things where they are. What is it that the government is doing extraordinary? Nothing in particular that, tickles anybody's fancy. But here we are, an event that happened before our own very eyes is something we are now being told in everybody, that what happened is not, honestly, that is caused by a man who sits in America, a man who just gave an icon. Even money was raised, that money was raised for people in hospital. People, don't worry, maybe it's more time they will begin to come after.
With Russia, the same with North Korea. Look at those countries. One thing is peculiar about those countries. These are basically one-party states. These are not states that allow for democracy that Buhari promised Nigerians. You cannot be comparing China with Nigeria, a state that is basically a communist.
Listen, even if they want to compare with China, let them bring it on. Do to China, do to these people what China does. When people behave in certain ways and commingle our funds and put their hands into where they ought not to, China will do the needful. So so you don't just bring China when they want to control. Also do what China do to people that enrich themselves corruptly from government. Ihana, thank you very much for the super chat.
State that President Xi can be in power for life with a country that against democracy. So what we are saying is that the ban on Twitter is not about Nnamdi Kanu. It is not about IPOP. It is not about Eastern Security Network. It is not even about fake news. It is about a regime that is becoming increasingly tolerant of dissent. And what is the evidence that you can see? Protesters who are protesting peacefully, you see the clampdown by the police, you see citizens being attacked, you see media houses being shut down, and now, as if that was not enough, they brought the so-called social media bill. Nigerians wrongly rejected it. But again, they are now coming through the back door, through what they seek to do by amending the National Broadcasting Commission Act to now give them the power that they had lost at the public hearing on the social media bill. Why is the government focusing on the social media? Why are they not paying attention to education? How come that 6 years after President Buhari came to power, he has not built a single world-class hospital that he can...
You're talking about world-class hospital. Has he built a single classroom block? Oh, please don't get me angry. Everybody shouting ranch, and he came out and he wants to go to and meet our ancestors in the First Republic to bring in old gazettes that's been overruled, overrun, and destroyed. He wants to go and bring in gazettes. In 2021, we are arguing that cows should be moving on the road. In 2021, we are arguing that cows will be moving on the road. I mean, we must be ashamed.
And treat himself. He's still embarking on medical tourism. These are the issues. These are the problems that are bedeviling us as a country. And they are not willing to address them. Look at the killings that are going on daily in this country. Nobody is paying attention. The government is not interested. They are not paying attention to the issues that matter. They just do not want people to talk. They just do not want a platform where citizens can engage. And it is unfortunate that this is happening at the National Assembly. He's tolerating it. Because I don't understand, for example, why the House of Reps under the Speaker, had to say that they want to wait for 10 days to determine whether there was a legal basis for the so-called ban or not. The fact that Lai Mohammed went to the parliament to say that the NBC should be given power to regulate online media is an admission against interest, as we lawyers would say, to the fact that ab initio, from the word go, they knew that this ban was unconstitutional. They knew that by virtue of section 39 of the Constitution, you cannot, I say you cannot wake up and say you are suspending Twitter, because Twitter is the platform, it is the medium through which citizens express themselves. So this was an illegality. It continues to be an illegality.
Well, Inebehe, I mean, you cited the example of some countries that you say are one-party states, and you focus more on China. But how about India? India has multi-party democracy. In February 2021, India introduced what he called Intermediary Guidelines 2021, and it took effect on the 26th of May 2021 to regulate content by high-tech companies, specifically Facebook, WhatsApp, and this same Twitter, right? And, the argument by India is that, look, it needs to control content, ensure national security, and make sure that nobody uses high-tech to sabotage the country. Similar argument with that of Nigeria. Are you saying, in principle, that a country cannot subject an international platform to its own national laws? Are you saying that in the interest of national security, which is part of the argument by Alhaji Lai Mohammed, high-tech platforms, microblogging platforms can just be allowed as they wish? Where do we draw the balance?
Now let me highlight 2 points on India. India under President Modi has become increasingly conservative. It has become a right, under Modi, India has become a right-wing regime, right-wing administration under President Modi. But you have also made the point admittedly that before they took these steps, they had put in place certain legislative measures. But in the case of Nigeria, there is no law today that empowers this kind of arbitrary decision to be taken. The question is social media in Nigeria unregulated? My answer is no, because we already have, for example, the Cyber Crimes Act of 2015 that to some extent has largely regulated social media content. Nobody can tell me that the cyberspace is not regulated. The cyberspace in Nigeria is already regulated. The social media is already regulated. And I dare say that the social media itself is a self-regulating platform. And let me explain that. If I tweet something this morning, right now, somebody will come under that tweet to challenge me, to demand for proof, to demand that I substantiate it. That is unlike the conventional media, like the print media, where you can, do little or nothing about what is published. But on social media, every user is an ombudsman. Every user is a regulator. So when we make these comments, and let me also say this, Twitter, for example, has community standards. They have cited the case of Nnamdi Kanu. If Nnamdi Kanu tweets, a statement that is found to be incendiary, that is found to be violent, if you report that tweet, or people report that tweet, I can assure you that Twitter will take it down. Twitter has deactivated several accounts of Nigerians. Twitter has suspended several accounts. Twitter has flagged and deleted several tweets. This is not about fake news. This is not about regulation per se. This is about the fact that the tweets of the president were deleted. This is about the fact that we have a president, we have a government whose fragile ego cannot tolerate the fact that the tweet of the president was deleted. We cannot separate the fact that that tweet that some Nigerians have described as genocidal, that they reported to Twitter was taken down, is the reason for this action.
Please, I'm not seeing enough comment on the section. Is it that you guys don't like what this guy is vivaciously saying, or that what he's saying is numbing your thumbs not to chat again? Me, I am spellbound because, what he's saying, not only that it makes sense, his delivery is top-notch. He's basically saying it. And I'm like, show him some love. Like the stream. because this guy is just delivering it. He's just delivering it. I can't like it.
So when they say, oh, we want to subject it to national law, and let me also point out the hypocrisy. While the government is claiming that Twitter is not registered in the country, they have now gone to an Indian app called Go,
that is not
KWO. They have opened an account called Government of Nigeria, or Government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, including appointees of this regime. The question is that app registered in Nigeria? The answer is no. Do they have an office in Nigeria?
No.
Again, the answer is no. You see the double standard, you see the hypocrisy. So this was a vindictive action that was meant to punish Twitter and Nigerians because the president tweeted something that he should never have tweeted. So Dr. Bati, it is not about regulation. It's not about subjecting Twitter to the laws of Nigeria because Twitter itself is not an entity in Nigeria. You cannot say that Twitter cannot operate in Nigeria except they register in Nigeria because this is a platform that operates virtually. Virtually, and the president has an account with millions of followers. If the president is saying, like Mohammed has an account, the Federal Minister of Information has an account on Twitter, they use the same account to announce the suspension of Twitter. What can be more embarrassing? What can be so most can?
You know why I'm laughing? Nigerian government banned Twitter. Using Twitter to announce the ban of Twitter. Can you make that up? Can you beat that level of silliness? Can you? In fact, I am enjoying this party. My young boy, come please.
39, 10, 11, 40, 80.
Awesome.
Hmm?
You decided ABC today?
Yeah.
Huh?
No.
Where are you?
Yes.
Read ABC, my.
A, B, C, D, F, I, J, K, L, M.
What's it mean?
That ABCD was for Line Mohammed. That is ABCD that was actually done for Line Mohammed. Oh dear, these people are just cracking me up. You see, these things, you can make them up. I tell you. You cannot make these things up, people.
If that Twitter has no right to operate in Nigeria, why is Buhari having a Twitter account? Why is Malami having a Twitter account? Why is Lai Mohammed having a Twitter account? They shouldn't have opened accounts on Twitter. They have been in power for 6 years. This issue was not raised until the president's tweet was deleted. So let Nigerians not be mistaken. This is not a case of controlling an international corporation. This is about denying Nigerian freedom of speech, as we have seen in the last 6 years. Look at what is happening. I cited an example. Look at the June 12 protests. Protesters were attacked despite being peaceful. So it is not really about regulation. It is just about a regime that is intolerant, a regime that is determined to ensure that the democratic space is totally shrinked.
Right, I have 2 questions for you, Mr. Effiong. Can you take us through the 9 prayers of the suit that you've instituted against the government with regards to the Twitter ban? You were right off the blocks. As the strike was called off, you went to court and filed this suit. And my second question for you, if you were counsel to Jack Dorsey or to Twitter, which you never know you might end up being, how would you advise them to conduct themselves now that they've had this slap on the government?
You know, before he continues, I will say, please take, I only have 1 glass left. I'll give it to you because this evening you've made my day again. Top notch. I say I'll give it to you. You know, when someone makes sound argument, you can see your school fees was not in vain. Not all these cut and nail lawyers. No. It's making sound argument for your fellow citizens. There is nothing like speaking up for the downtrodden, speaking up for those who do not have voice. That's what we do here. We speak up for the voiceless. And, you know, it gladdens me that you are lending your voice. Take, but I'll drink on your behalf.
Defense, well, I'll be a little conservative. The matter is before the court. I've gone to court to seek redress. to demand that this so-called ban be nullified, be set aside, and to also challenge their power to even say they are suspending, because Section 39 of the Constitution is clear that citizens have the right to freedom of expression, including freedom to receive information and impart ideas. I am quoting this verbatim. And that section doesn't end. It says, it shall be without interference. Without interference. If they are saying they now want to interfere, they must amend the Constitution first. Or they must even come out and say, no, we are tired of the Constitution. We want to bring back Decree 4. Let us suspend the Constitution. Let the pretense stop. But as long as the president held the Constitution and the Quran and swore to uphold the Constitution, they must adhere to the principle of fundamental rights.
Thank you very much, Onyenimo, for the super chat. And Paul Gabriel said, this guy knows his onion. I hope he's not onion from Sokoto. I hope it's another type of onion.
You cannot limit fundamental rights except by an act of parliament, by a written law. Not only a written law. Section 45 and Section 39 says that law must be reasonably justifiable in a democratic society. Reasonably justifiable. As at the time this so-called ban was implemented, which law as at today empowers the government to take that kind of action?
None.
As a lawyer, I am not aware.
None.
As a citizen, I am not aware. So I have gone to court to seek redress. Let the court determine the merits of the action. But what will be my advice to Twitter? Twitter is already talking to the Nigerian government. But one thing I will advise is that they must not compromise on the fundamentals, which is that on no account, should Twitter allow itself to be coerced into compromising the right of Nigerians to use that platform to express themselves. Because they are not going to stop with Twitter. They will also go after Facebook. They will go after WhatsApp. They will go after all other platforms that gives us Nigerians the power and the opportunity to express ourselves. So Twitter has to be firm on the principles of free speech. However, I also agree that it is important for them to have some form of communication. If, like Mohammed, for example, is saying that Nnamdi Kanu put out a tweet and they had officially reported to Twitter, let him make the evidence public so that Twitter can also come out to say, this is why we did not delete this tweet. As of today, Lai Mohammed has not presented any modicum of evidence, not even one piece of evidence to show that there was a particular tweet that the government frowned at and officially reported and nothing was done.
Okay, now lick your lips. Question is, why do you think that Lai Mohammed is not making it public what he complained to Twitter? Do you think Lai Mohammed
when
is
my
telling
7-year-old grandson called me and said, Grandpa, tell me the truth. Why did they call you Liar Mohammed?
So again, the answer is there. He's being called Liar Mohammed.
Yeah, you cited Dr. Patti. The Indian government has specifically requested that certain accounts be taken down, and they provided the evidence. I have not seen the evidence of that in this country. What is going on is continuation of the impunity that has pervaded this country in the last 6 years. And we should never sit down to dialogue about democracy. It is either they give us a democratic country, it is either we have a democratic country based on the rule of law, or the rule based on the rule of might and dictatorship. We cannot be in between. We cannot be compromising on our rights. We cannot be compromising on democracy, because this is what APC promised Nigerians. They did not tell us as part of their manifesto that they were going to regulate the social media. They didn't. Lai Mohammed did not. Look at the statements he made as spokesperson of the Action Congress and even spokesperson of the APC. Can you imagine if somebody in opposition speaks today the way Lai Mohammed used to speak? The same Lai Mohammed even opposed the proscription of Boko Haram. But this government proscribed IPOP. And now they are saying it is because of IPOP, it is because of Nnamdi Kanu. Why did they have to declare and designate IPOP as a terrorist organization? They started peacefully. The government mismanaged the crisis, the same way they have mismanaged the economy, the same way they have mismanaged security, the same.
Hey, calm down now. You want to use truth and kill these people. Remember that our minister is somebody lying. No, not lying. I think his name is something lie. So it's madness everywhere. So calm down a little bit.
The same way they have mismanaged infrastructure, the same way they have mismanaged everything in this country. They mismanage the IPOP crisis and allow it to deteriorate because this is a government that believes in violence as an official policy. They don't believe in peaceful engagement. When you protest peacefully, they kill you. When you protest peacefully, they attack you. They deploy the military against you. So when these people started what they call Eastern Security Network, it was because the government had said, you cannot be talking peacefully. We don't listen to peaceful people. We only want to dialogue with bandits. We only want to give amnesty to Boko Haram. We only listen to those that resort to violence. If IPOP issue was properly managed, why did the military have to invade the home of Nnamdi Kanu?
At this point in time, he finished the whole conversation. He broke the microphone. The same argument I've been putting. Why on earth did you invade the house of a man who already was on bail? If you had needed him, you would have issued a court order to have him, to invite him, or to use the civil police to arrest him. No. We wouldn't do it because he's 5%. Because he's a dot in the cycle. You sit in as if you're bombarding Sambisa Forest. Many of us actually forget. We forget so easily. Before Nnamdi Kanu's house at Afaruku, there was Nigerian Union of Journalists at near Ramat Hospital, Abaru, where they invaded and destroyed properties there, took telephones and arrested journalists. Why? Because journalists were writing and informing the world what was happening. How and what manner, like I said it, just reaffirming what one has been saying over the years. The level of injustice can make you sick. When I say real sick, I mean just being sick and tired. You invade a man's house and you see idiots on the TV. Oh yeah, why did he jump bail? Run away. No, why wouldn't he jump bail and run away? He would have stayed when helicopter came and with armored tank. What manner of nation is this? I wouldn't be surprised next week now they'll start harassing these FM. I wouldn't be surprised because that is the country we live in. A people you saw picture Sanusi, El-Rufai, Lai Mohammed, Oyegun, all of them holding hands, marching in the street. And all these things, you see, listen, let nobody deceive you. When somebody says, oh, maybe the president doesn't know what is happening, listen, it's all lies. Now, fluke. The moment Buhari came on Arise TV, opened his mouth and said that the end-SARS protest was to remove him, that is when I knew that he was even the time they used DSS, all those Land Cruisers to import hoodlums to go destroy people's car, protesters' car in Abuja. The time those people with machete, he knew that these things were coming. The beribera is the beriberism of a government. Nonsense.
Why do they have to attack parents? Why can't we be truthful to ourselves as a nation? How come there are dozens of IPOP members that were killed? No police officer, no military officer was punished. Look at the killing at the toll gate. Nobody has been sanctioned. Look at the killing of hundreds of child. Nobody has been penalized in this country. Exactly. And we continue to demand peace. We continue to talk about unity.
Honestly, sometimes, maybe for my mental health, this thing should not. Do you know what it means? You look at that, they share it. They have a government, Kaduna State government official white paper agrees that 350 people, do you know what it means? Human beings, not chickens. 350. You know, sometimes it's just like, how many are we here? We are over 170 watching this stream now. Imagine times 3 or 4. Just killed just like that. Everybody just goes as if nothing happened. What manner of a sick nation does these things? 300 and something people died. We woke up 2 years ago in Benue, January. In one day, January, over 250 people died. Today, not a single person. Not a single person. Like he said, in the case of Afaruku, not a single person. In the case of Mpo, not a single person was charged. In the case of Onitsha, not a single person. In the case of Aba, not a single person. In the case of Zaria, not a single person. In the case of Lagos, Tollgate, not a single person. There is limit to madness. There is limit to madness.
We cannot have peace and unity on the bedrock of injustice. We cannot have peace without justice. When you don't have justice in a country, violence is inevitable. That is what this example that I have cited shows. So what we should be talking about is accountability. What we should be talking about is respect for the rule of law. Except there is respect for the rule of law, you cannot really stop what is going on across the country. That is the truth. And unfortunately for us, it does appear that there is no way out as far as this presidency is still in office.
Yes, Tondo asked you the question. What advice will you give to Twitter? And if I heard you correctly, you were saying Twitter should insist on free speech. But there are specifics that the Nigerian government is asking for. The Nigerian government wants Twitter to open an office in Nigeria. Twitter has set up an office, its African headquarters in Ghana. Do you object to Twitter setting up an office in Nigeria? That's one. 2, Twitter, in some other parts of the world, is a registered company. In some parts of Europe, in fact, Twitter pays taxes. The Nigerian government wants Twitter to operate as a business in Nigeria and pay taxes. You also have an objection to that. And then the third leg of it is the NBC Act, Section 2. There was a public hearing on it yesterday by the House Committee on Information, and civil society representatives were there. 2 issues came up. The Ministry of Information wants that Section 2 amended to include online platforms, social media content. But civil society groups like the Center for Media Law and Advocacy, like the Center for Media and Society, like the International Press Center, they were arguing that, 1, the NBC should be an independent body and that the appointment of its board should be reviewed by the National Assembly so as to reduce the influence of the Minister of Information on that particular body, to make it independent. What do we say to all of this? Because we need clarity on specific issues that have been raised.
Just clarify, the point I made was that Twitter must insist, I repeat, insist on the fundamentals. On no account, and I hope so, should Jack and Twitter compromise the right of Nigerians to use that platform to express themselves. This attempt at censorship has to be resisted. This resurrection of the ghost of Decree 4 must be frontally resisted. Should Twitter have started their office in Nigeria, I think it would have been a wrong business decision. What they have now done has vindicated their decision to go to Ghana. What was even the reason that they gave? They said Ghana promotes free speech. Dr. Bati, can you imagine for a second, if Twitter had an office in Nigeria, is it not obvious that the State Security Service or even the military and the police would have raided that office, arrested their employees, and shut it down? That is what they would have done. We have seen them do it in other instances. So when they decided to go to Ghana, they had looked at the environment, and I cannot fault them on that. It is not about patriotism. It is about the truth. Because if we are truly patriotic, we should be truthful to ourselves as a country. Now, am I opposed to Twitter paying some form of tax to the government? We have tax laws in Nigeria. We have legislative, mechanisms that govern taxation. I would like to know which of these laws or which of these regulations envisages the kind of taxation that they are talking about. I would like to know, is it the income tax they are talking about? Is it value-added tax? Which of the tax are they asking Twitter to pay? Because in those countries that we are talking about, for example, if you look at Twitter, for example, in the country, in the US or Europe, for example, they have certain frameworks, certain legislative frameworks that makes it possible to find Twitter or bring them under some form of, regulation. But as I said, in Nigeria, we don't even have those legislative instruments or mechanisms in place. You cannot start regulation through sanction. You can only start regulation by putting in place the necessary framework. And I'm saying this morning that those frameworks in Nigeria do not exist. Now, can they do that through the NBC Act, Section 2? My answer is no. One, because that would be dishonest, that would be deceitful. They brought the social media bill. We killed it as Nigerians, as civil society at the public hearing. They could not present a stronger argument. Now we want to come in through the NBC Act. I do not think that is how to run a government. I do not believe that is the right course of action. Because as I said, Dr. Bat, in these countries that we keep referring to, what is their index in terms of development, in terms of GDP, in terms of employment? You have to look at it objectively. What can we point at today and say that in the last 6 years, this is one outstanding achievement of this government?
No, if Twitter was to come to Nigeria, they would also buy their own lister. They will buy their own, they will have to buy their own better pass my neighbor.
Because before you even begin to attack these platforms, you must show that you are a responsible government. And why should we even trust them to regulate these platforms? When we have seen how they have abused the NBC, how they have used the NBC in a partisan manner to shut down media houses. Can you imagine NBC that said that broadcast stations should deactivate their Twitter account? They don't even have the power to do that as at today, Dr. Bati. And they are taking that kind of erratic decision. Imagine what they would do if you don't give them the power. That is why eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. If these people have shown that they can manipulate the NBC, they can manipulate the SSS, they can manipulate INEC, they can use the police the way they like, they can abuse all state institutions, why should we throw them? Why should we believe that they are going to be fair if they now amend the NBC Act to give them power to do what they are seeking to do? The answer is that we cannot trust them because this government does not have credibility in the eyes of most Nigerians. That is the truth. So if the government lacks the credibility to address issues, to be honest in their dealings, and they're not saying we want to regulate social media, your guess is as good as mine. Because what they are going to do eventually is that they won't even allow anybody to talk again. Look at what they have done to the right to protest. We have seen Buhari protest. Buhari protested and was tear gas. They went to court in the case of IGP and ANPP. The court said you don't need police permit to protest. You cannot tear gas people for protesting. But despite all the judgments we have obtained, despite all the decisions of courts that have affirmed the rights of Nigerians to protest, Nigerians are still being tear gas, Nigerians are still being shot, Nigerians are still being arrested for simply protesting. Well, and you are saying, let us give them power to regulate social media. I would never be part of that.
There was something you said earlier when you referred to the Eastern Security Network. I hope you are not justifying violence by any group inside Nigeria.
No.
Because one of the bases for the objection of the federal government to Twitter is that Twitter has become a platform inside Nigeria for a particular separatist movement within the country. And then you were, waxing lyrical about the Eastern Security Network, the ESN, the militant wing of the IPOB. If you could just clarify your position on that before we move on.
I totally oppose. I totally deprecate and condemn unreservedly the killing of policemen, the burning of police stations, the carnage that is going on in the East. I am not sympathetic to IPOP. I don't believe in IPOP. I don't subscribe to IPOP. I am not a follower of Nnamdi Kanu. I have never been. I have always been critical of what he's fighting for. I do not believe in Biafra. I also do not believe in splitting Nigeria, even though I totally oppose the fraudulent one Nigeria they are talking about, because the united Nigeria that I want must be based on justice, must be based on rule of law. But I do not believe that we should divide the country. At the same time, we cannot criminalize what ordinarily should be an exercise of the right to self-determination. Eastern Security Network, whatever they are doing, I do not endorse it. I totally condemn it. But the point I am making, Dr. Bati, is that we should not be addressing these matters on the surface. Let us go to the roots. What led to the Eastern Security Network? Didn't they kind just start with this group? They started by marching, carrying flag, going on the street, protesting. What was the response of the Nigerian state? What was the response of the Buhari regime? They deployed Operation Python dance. The Python was dancing on the lives of the people of the Saudis. People were being killed. People were being slaughtered. They were being attacked. They were not even allowed to protest, even when they charged him for treasonable felony. Even when they had filed charges for Justice Nyako at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The military, in so-called democracy, invaded the house of Nnamdi Kanu, desecrated the palace of his father, who was a traditional ruler. You cannot have that in a distant country. So as we condemn the killing of policemen, the burning of police, the burn of stations and INEC offices, we must admit that this regime, this government, takes responsibility for the resort to violence by the group known as Eastern Security Network. If we are not truthful about these things, Dr. Bassi, we will continue to see history repeat itself. Boko Haram started when Mohammed Yusuf was extrajudicially killed. Have we learned any lesson as a country? The answer is no. We are still resorting to primitive, draconian ways of responding to civic agitation. When people are protesting, you engage them, you talk to them. That is why you say you are running a democracy. You don't kill them. You don't deny them of the right to protest. But we keep saying IPOP, and what the president said, he will speak to them in the language that they understand. These people have not recovered. The people of Eastern Nigeria, the Igbos in particular, they're still going through the agony of the civil war. And you are saying you treat them in the language they understand? What is the language of the civil war?
But there's an argument, and I'd like your comments on that argument, that the president's remarks were taken out of context. Those he was referring to were the armed groups.
No. Don't justify that. The president was not, his comments was not taken out of context. His comments were not taken out of context. The comment was within context. The comments were within context.
Who have forgotten the pains of the Southeast during the Civil War. The armed groups are going around torching Nigerian infrastructure. It belongs to us, INEC infrastructure, for our democracy. That comment was made to a specific cadre of criminals. So those who leapt to their defense were wrong-footed, including Twitter, who did not take time to appreciate the broader context of that remark before deleting the tweet. Now, should Twitter have approached the Nigerian government, because this is a sovereign state, before deleting that tweet? I want you to want your take on that. And also the general global move towards social media regulation. The U.S. government, the U.S. House of Representatives actually has 4 bills right now in the offing to restrain social media giants about utilizing user data, buying other platforms. I grant you, none of them is trying to restrain or censor the actual posts that individuals make. But there is a general sense that social media giants are too big for their britches. Your comments?
Do you know that as I speak today, Nigeria does not have a data protection law? Embarrassingly enough. Because you are citing the example, and that is why I'm saying when we make these comparisons we must look at the peculiarity of these countries. There is no single one data protection law in Nigeria today, not even one. Not even one that protects the data of Nigerians. We don't have. We do not have. Now, you make, the point that the president's comment was taken out of context. The only person or persons who took the president's comment out of context is President Lai Mohammed. Nigerians understood what he said. I personally understood what he said.
My dear, God bless you. Everybody, within 1 hour of making that comment, I was already broadcasting because I understood it to be against Ndigo. This one you're talking about, IPOB, is just talking nonsense. Because if IPOB doesn't believe in Nigeria, they don't own properties elsewhere. So who are those that own properties elsewhere? These are Ndigo. So
the context in which he said it was clear. He didn't just stop at that. He didn't say he was referring to the armed groups. No. When you look at it objectively, when you look at it in context, because he said that they have businesses all over the country. Is it IPOB that has businesses all over the country? Does IPOB have business in Kanu, in Sokoto, in Zamfara, in Benue, in Kwara, in Ogun, in Cross River? They don't. Does the Eastern Security Network have businesses all over the country? The answer is no. Buhari was referring to the Igbos. We can admit it, we can pretend about it. His body language has been clear. He started by saying you cannot treat 93 and 5% equally. We have seen how he has marginalized the Igbos. No Igbo is represented in the National Security Council. Look at the nepotism. So when we are saying his comment was taken out of context, are we also saying that his nepotistic appointments, his clearly sectional appointments are also taken out of context? Because this is a president that has a pedigree.
So quickly now, for those of you joining us now, we see the number is increasing. Kindly share and like, and we will open the telephone line. The telephone line is being displayed on the screen now. In the next couple of minutes, the guy is rounding up now. We would take a couple of questions, but please, when you call in, ensure that there is no other device beside you, that you are basically speaking to me. And please do not hug the telephone line and refuse to drop, please, because I don't want us to, we've been here long enough now that we will just take a couple of calls. Thank you very much.
A shameful pedigree, an unfortunate pedigree of favoring a section of the country that has polarized this country as never before. So that is not a precedent that you will tell me spoke at, that people are taking him out of context. He was clear on what he meant. In any event, we have had the so-called herdsmen or the so-called armed Fulani herdsmen committing killing people across the country from the north to the south. Has he spoken to them? Because in your interview with him, he made reference to what Governor Tom said, that the Governor Tom said is Fulani and that he cannot deny it. Not all Fulanis are criminals. But as Buhari spoken to his kinsmen, the ones that are criminals, the ones that are armed, in the language that they understand, the answer is no. In what language have they been speaking to them? Language of encouragement, language of endorsement, ruga, settlement, grazing roads, and so on and so forth. Despite that governors have rejected these divisive policies, Buhari is still trying to force it on the throat of Nigerians. He has not addressed killings by the herdsmen. Has he spoken to bandits in the language that they understand? For the last 6 years, the answer is no. Rather, Gumi is advocating amnesty. School students are being kidnapped. Just yesterday, people were praying in Zaria against kidnapping. Buhari has not spoken to kidnappers in the northeast, the northwest, in the language that they understand. He has also not spoken to Boko Haram and ISWAP in the language that they understand. But suddenly, he now knows the language that IPOP will understand. I do not think that is how to run a country whose unity you are willing to kill for. I do not think how to run a country that is...
Let's move on from this Twitter and the political talk. Can you talk briefly about the judicial staff unit?
You see, I think Ruben Abati and co were no longer feeling comfortable, and they have to call it truth, saying that can we move away from these Twitter conversation? I mean, that's very funny. So, people, on that note, I will now take, for those of you, I think you were requesting for it. If you want to call quickly, you can do that now. For many of you in Europe and here in Africa, I think it is becoming very late, in as much as it's weekend. I do understand. And many of you also in Asia and in America, some of you, it is your working hour. We thank you very much. Very sound and straight to point. Gerard Amazi says, Abati, honestly, I don't. Please, can we reduce name calling, please? We can disagree with people without necessarily calling them names. But I think this is what we talk about. When you discover people who can make sound arguments, everybody must not agree on, all the issues on discussion. But we do agree sometimes, and we do disagree sometimes as well. But in all this, I can say that my impression of Mr. or Barrister Effiong is that he is a sound and a very sound and a fair-minded lawyer for that matter. Because, the position that he took is really, in my view, very balanced. Because, there is no way it is unhuman to side the superior against the inferior, someone who basically has nothing to defend himself, rather than just his mouth. It's these things ought to be the reason why we keep bringing these things out. It's not to demonize anyone, but at least that constantly we will begin to unpick this truth, because truth, they say, is universal. Again, I'll take a couple of your comments and maybe one or two comments. If you do want to call in, then we'll call it a day. So I'll take some of your comments. And Ken Morgan says the journalist contributed to the problem of Nigeria. Can you believe where a journalist is defending the wrong thing going on in this country? Well, that is your opinion. I do not think they are defending, but sometimes what many of us also do forget is that sometimes when you are when you are interviewing people, you must, irrespective of how you feel, you might feel so angry, but you must represent an unbiased umpire that you can ask questions, even maybe prompt people. Sometimes, even depending on who you are interviewing, sometimes you might even take the role of the the devil's advocate, basically, in order to get some answers from the other side as well. Okay, so again, as many of you who are cussing out Ruben Abati here, I think if you know, that conversation has gone on for about 34 minutes before Ruben Abati actually said, okay, they have other things they need to discuss, let them get in there. Again, you cannot devote all the time, in as much as I would have wanted the guy to continue in that trajectory or in that part of conversation, but we cannot devote all the time to that pattern of conversation. They have to do something else, and I do appreciate that. The other day, I think AIT, when they interviewed Madam Ankyo Briggs, similar thing happened when he was talking about government. But at some point, they needed to also move away, because the whole conversation after about 28 minutes, after about 24 minutes, was not only about the president comments, or was not only that singular thing. There were other things that they needed to get into. So sometimes doing this job, many of you might not understand this or might not know this, but these are things you need to understand. You sometimes have to take, positions where, in order to be fair and balanced, you need to ask some questions. Okay. I've also observed that many people are saying that they didn't interview Buhari very well was, I said, well, I think in that question, because again, in interviewing, there is one thing, and that's it's always easy for the person sitting down sometimes to think like this. To get somebody, to get the authorization to interview someone, especially very highly placed people, because it does happen to me, it takes a lot of time. And once it's something that when you get in there, you do not want to abuse the privilege. I remember one time I invited Senator Baribe here, and I was interviewing him on his book launch. But at some point, there was something happening in the Great Igbo Nation at that point that I needed Igbo to know his view relating to that issue. And I queried him very, very hard and deep on the issues concerning Ohanese and Igbo as of that time, because there was some group or some part of Ohanese and Igbo that have gone to court saying that they had formed a parallel Ohanese. After one or two questions on that, and he can see his objection by saying, Maazi, I thought this is about my book, not about Ohanese. I quickly threw one more question before I could retract. You can see. Again, we say, he who ever climbs an Iroko tree must, try as much as possible to get the most of dry wood he can. So meaning he who has the privilege to climb an Iroko tree must take as much as dry wood as he can, because an Iroko tree is not a tree you climb every single day. Therefore, sometimes, it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act, but it's always easy for people to sit back and say, this person has disappointed, this person has done this. Again, bear in mind, this is a station that sometimes, like that interview with the president, they don't need to go be hosted to the president, and that would close that door that they would never get the opportunity to. What would you have wanted, where they close the opportunity that they will no longer have an exclusive interview with the president, but CNN, Al Jazeera will. Then we, creating local content, will now go to the field and say, no, you're not giving us enough leeway, enough leverage to leverage on these things we have locally, or rather only talking on the international scene. And that same thing applies even if it's Al Jazeera. Their approach to interview must as well, because it's the relationship you've cultivated. You do not need to kill that relationship because of one interview, because you are anticipating that even when you ask difficult questions, but in a relaxed manner, like in that interview, Ndoka and Ruben actually asked deep questions where the president, even when I felt he didn't want to answer, he still gave it a shot. At the end of the day, that those answers he gave actually helped in exposing his mind, help expressing the way and manner his thought processes and the way he processes his thought anyway. So people, thank you very much for that. Onyanimo says YouTube is suppressing views. Looking into why. I do not know, but YouTube is suppressing views. Serious. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe Nigerian government has reported us. I do not know. But I can see that the views are, I see that from my back end, the views are strongly, even like 70% down, suppressed, and this is, compared to other things, other Hangout and street parliament. And again, remember, tomorrow is our street parliament, where we will just make a presentation and we will go ahead quickly and start. The street parliament tomorrow is going to be by 9 o'clock. We were working to bring the street parliament to 7 o'clock, so that it will give many of you, especially those in Nigeria and those in Europe, that have plus 1 hour ahead, or those within the time zone like those in the United Kingdom, that it is going to bring it in a par. Then those of you in America, mostly those within the East Coast, at least is going to be +5. That's going to give you enough leeway as well to be part of the conversation. Again, yes, people think that I no longer get my notification, but you can go back and check and see if you do get, if you set the notification or if YouTube disabled it. But from my end, I did not disable anything. I have a first caller here. Let me take this caller quickly. Caller, if I may know your name and where you are calling me from. I made an announcement that when you call me, can you please?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment.
Okay, go ahead. May I know your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from London.
Okay, what's your name, please?
Hello?
What's your name, please?
Hello?
I'm listening to you. I said,
Hello?
what's your name?
Hello? Hello?
I'm listening to you. We can hear you.
I can hear you.
Go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
We can hear you, madam. Madam, go ahead. If not, I'll take another caller. If you're listening to me, can you call back? I'll take another caller. Hello, who am I speaking to? You're speaking to Maazi Ezeoke. This is live. Hello? Yes, go ahead. I can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Prince Amy, calling from Canada.
Okay, Prince Amy, you're welcome. What's your contribution?
I can hardly hear you. There's a feedback coming from your side.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, but I can go and make my contribution.
Yes, please, quickly.
Okay. Yeah. I think, thank you so much for all the handout process and your contributions and comment towards, trying to have a better Nigeria and so on and so forth.
Better society, I would say.
Better society, yeah. So that's the right term to use.
It could be anywhere.
Better society, could be Biafra,
well, leave it at that. It could be anywhere.
Okay. Yeah. My own comments on, that's my own feeling. I had that comment. I just felt, I know the Arise team has been working hard with their previous comments. But my little observation is, since their interview with the president, they've been slightly, tilting towards more of the government policy than, the neutral ground that they held in the previous time.
Why do you think so?
Because I've been watching. I watch the Arise Morning programs, the early morning and so on, and I've already observed that especially Tundu and Ruben have been more of the they were part of the interview, but now they're almost like tilting towards some of the policies. I know the government has been doing a lot, but before they were maintaining. If you take a look at some of their previous, the way they tackle issues, the way they stand on some certain issues. But now they're kind of tilting. It's my opinion.
Okay. That's much appreciable. Can I say something here? Yes. Sometimes psychologically, I'll put it this way. I use WhatsApp group as an example. In WhatsApp group, I've noticed people being antagonistic to individuals they haven't met. Because sometimes, but when you meet someone, right, you sit down with that person. It's natural psychology. You sit down with that person, you walk away. Your relationship will never be the same as opposed to when you haven't. You begin to chew your words. I'm not saying that this is what has happened to them, but again, if I look at Arise, if you take this interview with Effiong, for instance, if they have taken that route that they took, Remember, there was a point the lawyer was uninterrupted for about 7 to 10 minutes, non-stop. He was talking everything. And for me, that point proves an entity that wants to be fair. If not, they could have interrupted him. But they didn't. At the point, after about 37 minutes, when they now said, okay, let's now move to the other point, because that program is up for about 40 minutes. I think it's honestly, in my estimation, doing part of what they do, I understand it's more than fair. It's just like when you're in a Zoom and you say someone, okay, you have 1 minute to ask question. And the person starts, there were people start talking nonsense. After 2 minutes, you say, okay, your time is up. You say, no, allow me to ask my question. But I say you had more than 2 minutes already.
Yeah,
but you didn't actually go straight to the point. It's an act. Maybe over time we'll learn. But I mean, I'm not defending anyone. I'm just trying to be fair to say if they are departing, because when I still listen to them, I listen to the stance of someone like Rufai, even Tundu, fundamentally hasn't still, in my view, in my estimation, changed. The only person that I can see slightly, maybe there is a slight change, is Abiola. Can't remember her first name, but obviously, yes, Tundu Abiola, exactly. Is it? Can't remember the other girl name. Not OJ. Blimey. But the other girl, it's top notch. It's also sound. But Tundu, you can say maybe because of the way the things the family got from the government, because of her late father. But again, that's human. Honestly, that's human.
Yeah, that's human.
Even
I totally understand. That's my impression.
Even in the Igbo adage, you say that I mean, that's human. Honestly,
that's true. Yeah, but at least that they have to find a way to remain as neutral as they were before.
My dear, listen. It's sometimes I'm telling this because I know. You see here, there are things I could write when you haven't met somebody. Now, there are things, if you have met somebody, you have established a relationship with that person, you no longer write. You can write them, but you want to seek their opinion. I'll give you an example. I know people that just write something and post it, publish it on their platforms, right? But when you begin to have a relationship and you begin to have some respect and you begin to respect certain people, you get some information about something happened, at least you give them right of fair hearing to react. You probably sometimes begin to go without confirmation when they ignore. Let's say now 15 people died in Anambra, and I say, okay, how do I confirm? Commissioner of Information, is this true? And he reads it, he keeps quiet. I wait 1 hour, 2 hours, the story must go out. Then if he thinks otherwise, he should reboot it. But if you do not know the person individual, even where to go at all, who you can confirm or whatever, who cares? You just write the story the way you had it and you post. Whoever want to. But again, for a platform that is not for gossip, that is serious business, there ought to be checks and balances where eventually views are not suppressed. That's my honest view. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your call. Bless you, my dear. So, people, I think I had the first lady that called. I don't know what happened, but your line was not well. And I think another person called from Canada, but somewhat my telephone is showing me that was a spam call. That's a +320. Sorry, I think that's America. +1 32026 346. So if that is you, I don't know what you're doing with your phone. If your phone, the true caller here says it is spam. Oh, Lizzie, Chuku Lizzie, you're coming late today. Lizzie, where have you been? You've abandoned me. It is an art. Storytelling is something that is part of our culture. True journalism is having the courage to ask a tough question in spite of fear. Exactly. But again, you know that asking serious questions, and that's one thing, asking questions is different from your opinion. What they did in Abuja was to ask questions, nothing more. But when you do analysis, it's just like I had the commissioner of information in Anambra State. I asked him all the tough questions, both the airport cost, these. I mean, these are questions. I do not at that point have an opinion. But if I want to analyze the airport itself, I can now tell you the things that I'm thinking, the things that they did wrong. Okay. And I asked him, there is this illegal refinery in Anambra State. That's question that because everybody in Anambra State who saw those videos are thinking, oh, these things it cannot be real. So people need to, we have people in the diaspora who are worried that their community is going to have oil spillage. They needed to know if it's true. If it's true, what are they doing? Again, these are things, you know, these questions ought to be asked. Where fear and where malice is when you don't ask this question, you just go ahead, one blank, you know, just talking and criticize. No. Huh? You know. Oh, okay, I see. Lizzie, I see what held you. Maybe that's why a lot of people weren't here as well. Okay. OJ, people were okay, sorry. OC Ekwam says people were attacking the CEO of APIS. What did you expect him to say? He's a difficult. Exactly. So when I watched that APIS video as well, I said, damn if you say it, damn if you don't. Hey, he's a businessman. You know, but sometimes I think some of us should, you know, somewhat suppress our emotions and live in a real world. Live in a real world. Well, define illegal. An illegal activity is something that is not licensed, something that does not have legal backing. You know, if I go to your village and if I go to your farm because it lies shallow and start farming it without you either verbally or written authorizing me to do it, it is illegal, no matter how noble it is. So in this case, without the authorization of the Anambra communities, Anambra government, you know, without the appropriate license from the Nigerian entity, that activity in Anambra remains illegal. Government acknowledged, the Anambra State Governor, Commissioner of Information acknowledged it. The point of departure, and that's where myself now, if I remove the cap of the person anchoring and asking these questions and my individual point comes in, where my point now comes in is to say, oh, something is obviously not right. So what is the government doing? Because I think in that case, government is not doing enough. Then I asked them, how do you think we can help? Because obviously something that is illegal is going on here. So I do not care the reason why you're not doing things you are ought to be doing. Okay, I think Lizzie says, I think the trouble is when you ask tough questions and you are being bamboozled. Repeat the question. Well, you repeat the question then. You see, if asking question, but again, I think there is one thing we have to know is, and I think maybe because of the Nigerian system, because of the sun, most times we are aggressive. I believe you will get the right answer even when you ask those questions in a different way. You still get the answer. Yeah, hello, you're speaking to Maazi Ezeoke. This is live. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, Maazi.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Who is talking and where are you calling from?
Yeah. Okay, my name is Rufus. I'm calling from the United States. I appreciate you very well. I mean, on my comment when you were talking about when you were just making your discussions about people going to hospital and what's it called, the arterial or something, the leg ulcer and all that. I was so impressed in your what's it called, the way you put it, because a lot of people in Nigeria are still in 10th century. People have forgotten. People do not want to go to hospital. People do not want to go to hospital. People think all these things are made spiritual. When you have diabetes, your system, when you have diabetes and all that, and you fail to go for regular checkups and all that, you're prone to having all those things. And the thing is this: the church is not helping issues as well. They tell you it's Maazi Ezeoke in the village that is behind my problem.
But because of ignorance, that's why the church is doing that.
Yes, the ignorance, and people buy into it. There's a video that I sent to you the last time. When the trailer, loses, it's bound to happen. Big trucks, they felt brake. When they're about to fail their brake, they go into what's it called, runaway ramp, and something stops them there.
Yeah, they fill the ramp. They fill the ramp with a special sand. So when you run into it, it stops it from going further. That's correct.
They just dig the floor, make it big, them all white sand there. When when the thing goes there, it automatically stops you. It's solution. But when people keep thinking is somebody in the village, like you also said, no matter the juju, that person anytime that you say that, and I keep on dying. Anytime that you say, if you want to build a house of 150 million, put 150 million inside the bank. Then let them go and bring the air to you and put there. You pick the whole thing and
And you still live now.
Yes, nah. Yes, another thing that you said, is when you said the one that you said when you have you have 5 million naira in your bank account and you're doing business and you want to go and build a house of 10 million naira, you are killing yourself. The next minute you look for one of your uncles in the village, and the next thing the church will tell you that they are the ones behind your success. And before you know what's happened, now you're remaining 5 million, they will collect it from you because they will do family deliverance for you at the end of the day. What is still there is still there. So, Maazi, thank you very much. I'll be sending you any other one that I see that I feel that is, I'll send to you. You still throw it out there. I love what you're doing. Keep up your good work.
Thank you very much, my brother. Stay blessed. Stay blessed. So, people, no one knows it all, but what we keep doing is sometimes we apply logic. I think sometimes how many people have found out in recent time don't want to speak is that the internet space is being taken over by. Okay, let me see if this is going to work. Yeah, hello. Who am I speaking to? Yes, I can hear you. Who am I speaking to? Sorry?
Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello, who am I speaking to?
Hello?
I can hear you. We can hear you loud.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I can't hear you. The line is so faint. Oh my God. Can you hear me now, sir?
Okay, I can.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Yeah, I've been listening to your conversation, sir. But I don't really know what's going on. It's like what is going on in my house, like what I'm experiencing in my home. But my husband is to open up till now. That with your conversation, like I'm picking something from there. I'm coming from Canada.
Okay.
I know there's issue. There's issue that is going on. But for the past, I don't know. He refused to open up to me because I'm very, we're husband and wife. Okay. And I know he has a lot of girlfriends. So the issue going on the rumor, hearing rumor,
Hold on. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but let me understand what you mean. You said he has a lot of girlfriends.
Yes, in Canada. But he's not opening up to me. But I'm hearing that he's going from one place to another, and there's an issue going to court, voting, going from one place to another. But I'm hearing anytime he comes home, I ask him, I heard you have a lot of girlfriends and they are going from one place to another. Is it true that they are voting or whatever, they vote for you or whatever? I don't know.
They vote?
Issue with them? Like voting, moving from one place. I don't really know. But I know, like in my house, I don't even know what I'm saying. Like the house we are living, at times I'm seeing movement of people in the house. Okay, even when I'm not home, used to bring girls, women to the house. But people are saying it is a rumor. I don't really see them. But the movement and the...
How can you see movement? Hold on. How can you see those spiritual movement or physical movement?
When I say movement, it's reaction.
Oh, okay. I thought the weather village people have come to Canada.
Yes. It's movement, it's reaction, the way he's doing them. It's just putting up the weight. Since I've been with him, we have kids, I noticed something is wrong. Something is not right on it. They're up till now, he's just putting up the weight. But there's rumor everywhere, oh, they are going from one place to another, you want to bring another woman to me, and that's how they are running, they're paying their money, this, that. But he refused to open up. You know, if I don't know anything, I can't come inside. I can't really go into... He's the one that's supposed to sit me down to let me know what is going on in the family. He's not opening up to me. I don't really know how to enter, how to go into the issue.
Well,
like I'm confused, like I'm just swimming on top of the ocean.
Well, I think I would say this is, I'm just trying to pick my words carefully. Obviously, I know you are.
Like they're saying that there's Igbo, there's Ududua, there's this, there's Imo, there's Ududua.
Okay, let me hold on. Let me ask you. Are you a Nigerian?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so which state are you from?
I'm from Canada.
No. You said you were a Nigerian. I said, which state are you from in Nigeria?
Okay, you state. I'm from Edo State.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're from Edo State. Now, and where is your husband from?
From Edo State.
Which means both of you should...
From Edo State.
Exactly. So both of you are...
He's from Edo, me, I'm from Lakeisha.
Yeah, but both of them are still in Edo anyway.
Okay,
Exactly. So I think obviously this is more
like this politics. Sometimes I don't know anything about politics, but because I'm a Christian, so I don't. Okay. But the things I'm seeing, things that is going around, I know something is not right. But he doesn't want me to, like, he's hiding things from me. He doesn't want me to know what is going on. There's rumor out there that he's moving and they are moving, going around, doing something. I don't really know what they're doing. Campaigning, like voting, I don't know. He refused to open up to me. I don't know what is going on. He's not telling me anything. He doesn't want me to know what is going on. But I sense it that something is wrong somewhere.
Maybe he's running for governorship. Maybe he's running for governorship.
No, it's not. It's not government. It's not that. It's not that. It's like women issue. This is women issue. So I don't know. Yes, I don't know.
Well, honestly, because this is, we're not in a relationship program, so it's for me it's a tall order to know where to.
Because like the issue that is going is like just what is happening in my home. So that's why I just think that this is exactly what is happening in my home.
But I haven't really discussed a relationship here. So I'm being fair. I'm just trying to make the connection of, I'm struggling, I couldn't I don't know how to help, or I don't know what to say, because we stuck with the conversation this evening, the Hangout this evening was more of logic, science. Then we moved into politics. So we didn't really go much, or not at all, into family issues and family matters, So, but I think probably, again, as a distressed woman, what I would, without knowing details, what I would think of her would be, obviously, women have a way of pressing buttons in the other room. So find a way to press the right button and see if he will be able to probably tell you one or two things that is happening. You find a way.
That is the issue.
Whoa. Okay. Does he have his parents still in Nigeria?
Yeah.
Are you in good terms with do you have any of his siblings?
Yes.
Okay. So have you tried reaching to him through his maybe relation? I don't know, because personally I would consider that someone taking my private affair to the family. But again, I would say keep trying.
He doesn't like that too. But
exactly.
Asking him to deny.
Yeah, but if he denies it, what will you do? I don't know. There is no evidence. You just basically hear rumors. So I would say, okay, if you think people come to your house when you're not there, maybe we start from getting professionals to install cameras.
Okay, like the house we are living, so I think someone is here with us, but I don't really know how they make it, why the person is here, but it's not telling because we have the tenants. So the whole issue is so confusing. He doesn't want to say anything about it. So, I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, maybe try to speak to your friends and, close relations in Canada and see what you guys can come up. But if you feel that your house someone is coming there in your absence, you can try to install some cameras and see if it's for your safety. I don't know.
Okay, because the reason why I called, because I heard you talking about the election, because I heard one time that they do mention of politics, like the figures for the women. One of the women, they go to court. I don't know the reason why they go to court.
If I talk about going to court, here, it's politicians going to court, not man and woman going to court.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you very much. Sorry about that. I wish I could be of help. Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much. Stay blessed. So everyone, I think I might. What's happening? Okay, I might start charging people. I might start charging. Please, the lady that just called now, if you're watching, you can get a NEOS Smart Cam, spelled NEOS Smart Cam. You can install this. You can monitor it from your phone, your smartphone, and it's easily done. Is about you are in Canada, it should be about 35 Canadian dollars with a sensor. I honestly, sorry, I think I'm blown away because I don't know what to say. I do not know the full story. So, as only cheer, I always don't want to dabble into issues from the middle. So I would say please, before maybe for tomorrow, I think that's my last call. I'm not taking any other call today, people. So we are finished with calls now. So if you want to make call again, maybe we have street parliament. But if you may, please try to watch the program, not because numbers is on the screen. Understand the context of what is being discussed before you, make that call, so that you don't get me off point. But be that as it may, thank you still for calling. And I thank every one of us for joining this conversation. It's been a wonderful time. And Liz, that came late, it's fine, you're forgiven. And I thank all of you that supported the channel with your super chats, and try to share this, program if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Periscope, aka Twitter. And for those of you who are here, if you are not following me on my Twitter handle, that's at Maazi Ezeoke at Twitter. No, at Maazi Ezeoke, that's my Twitter. Federal government has banned Twitter. We, the people, they no ban us. So if they ban themselves, let them ban themselves. Twitter is where we wake up, we say our mind, what we think. And we are respectful. We are not saying to insult anyone. We keep saying our mind. Ban Twitter or no ban Twitter, VPN or no VPN, we will keep saying our mind. So if you're not following me yet on Twitter, where I am more active than on this platform, at least multiple times in a day, do push out some things, either news or things. The things I do, again, you can do more of that. And some of you who are not following the Twitter community section, that's where sometimes we publish news with a link back to our website. And that is, on the, things that are really, really hot, because you can't make video all the time. But in that community, you are rest assured that if there is anything happening in Nigeria, if it's a breaking news and you do not find it on Njemje Media, think twice. That means it's very, very likely to be false. Now, for some of you who say they want to be joining most of the Zoom meeting that we do, if you wish to do that, sometimes we do share these Zoom meetings in the community section, but you can also join our what's it called, our Telegram group or Telegram channel, which is here on the comment section shared now. When you join, you get these news come in your device. Just make sure you have the notification on. Click on that. If you just click on that, it either invites you to download Telegram, or you already have Telegram. It takes you into that group. All you need to do is join. Click on join. That's it. So when we have these Zoom meetings, we share the login details there. We no longer share them in the social media out there, Facebook and websites, because of invaders. Because sometimes when you do that, bots and robots pick them and invade the meeting and cause harm. So that's it. Thank you very much. Barra said this evening hangout is like Maazi, and this person have turned it into please enough. I don't want to hear your relationship wahala, please. Thank you very much. Please keep it to yourself. If you want me to intervene, I'm charging $5 million. pipe million per hour. So if you want me to get involved, pipe million per hour. On that note, I say everybody, thank you and see you tomorrow. Keep a date with me, 9 o'clock in the evening. Once more, I am Maazi Ezeoke. Remember, bless and have a wonderful, restful night. Do not allow anything to worry you. Just enjoy yourself. Ensure you finish your drink, as I have done just this night. Good night, good morning, good evening, everyone. Bye.